To go to court and seek a constitutional declaration in relation to one aspect of the regs, seems to me we may as well challenge the other ones too.
We look forward to bringing you lots of grow rooms as we continue to usher in legalization. We took down the federal government's attempt to ban home growing in the country of Canada. Welcome back to Cannabis in Canada. It is Saturday, April 29th, and we're doing an odd show, or at least I'm doing an odd show tonight, or today, going into tonight. Some of you it's going to go into the evening. And for me, it's just going to be a session today, trying to get through some of the things we wanted to do earlier this week. Wow, is that camera ever off? Can you fix this camera for me? Best way I can show it is to put it on here. It's just chopping the TV in half. There.
How's that?
And just look at the TV here. And we did have all this stuff set up. It's like my dog that runs around here, and the dog tends to hit these tripods now. It's not a lot to move, but enough excuses made. That looks good. Awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah. So medical preparations of cannabis, legalization legislation for plants, as well as growing intents and the medical value of growing personally are some of the things that I wanted to talk about today. I got to try to get myself centered. This is a kabuckle right now. But we're going to also be talking today about why some of the giveaways may have to stop on Cannabis in Canada via Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, and if you're wondering about the weird flowers behind me, it's just I went and got my wife flowers the other day. They're opening up, and she wanted to put them in the picture, so she is here.
I can't be here, so the flowers are...
Yeah, she's here. She's in the chat, and she's going to be... She's here in person. She's just...
resting.
Yeah, she's resting up. So anyway, that's what explaining the flowers, so I don't get what are the flowers for. So just so you guys know, I got them for Vicky, and that's what they're there for. So,
Beautiful.
So I'll give you a chance, give an opportunity here for people to tune in and for me to get control of these cameras and make sure my audio coming through good now? A lot better than before because now they changed the DVs?
Yes,
okay,
actually,
good.
It had that weird, some better actually.
So I think we fixed a lot of quirks. So we had our mics turned up loud because we had done some big events, and I've got some really cool footage from 420 from Brother Brad. I got MC Farmer, which is one of the other brothers, that's on there. Geez, some amazing interviews, just a lot of stuff to cover that I've been trying to chop up. I just finally got the stage footage and everything that from my cameraman that I was really waiting on. So we're starting to chop these videos up now, but in the meantime, we might just play some raw footage, and like we did with the 420 videos, we've actually cut a lot of raw footage into those. I'm gonna switch my camera here and make sure my switcher works. And my switcher works perfectly good. Okay, so we are good for the show, and now I just got to tune into the chat and make sure that's good. And yeah, medical preparations was the first one on my list that I wanted to talk about. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is a good example is your dab rig. Normally you get a little reclaim section here. Now, the reason I'm talking about this isn't from myself. I didn't personally do this. I always would just clean out a bong. I've been lucky to, I guess, not have to clean a lot of bongs in my time. Anyway, I learned from Vicky that she actually keeps a reclaim. I know some people dab their reclaim, but she keeps a reclaim, and not for the purpose of dabbing, but for the purpose of capping. And she will cap that, and it will completely change the application of the cannabis. Sorry, through an edible form. But yeah. Oh, I hope you guys are having a better Saturday than me. I tell you, some days of being medical is just up and down and all around. And what can I say? It is what it is. It's another cloudy day in Vancouver, so it's not a best day to be out and about. And most importantly, we're happy to have the quirks worked out. At least I'm happy to have the quirks worked out. So you can expect to see a lot more of me over the next couple of weeks, pushing out shows and pushing out new content that I'm going to have to cut up and edit and get back to work. Had a few months off, try to recover, and yeah. Frankly, just get back to work. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. And anyway, are there any questions at all in the chat? I got to get into the chat, and I'm also
just warming up, saying hey, how's it going? Just saying hi to each other.
Cool. Yep. And we did have somebody contact us already about the dog, so yeah, if I have to give up my pup, that's really going to suck. One of the problems that I'm facing now is we've had our dog for a year, and the pup was taken. I mean, it was a rescue dog, so I got her, you know, when she was a little bit young, I guess, away from the mother, and that directly impacted us. It directly impacted the dog anyway, and Keela she deals with separation anxiety, and even downtown here, you live in downtown Vancouver, you have to really have control of your dog, or you're going to be met with a lot of tickets and resistance from the people, and rightfully so. It's downtown, a lot of $1 million condos here or whatever. At the end of the day, after a year, I still can't tie the dog up without the dog barking, even though I'm just inside the store. A lot of different things. Now, obedience training, we've looked at all these different things. We've tried crate training, we've tried everything. At the end of the day, I think the dog just needs to have a nice, yeah, honestly, she needs to have a nice big backyard and maybe a big area to play. So I'm hoping to place her up in the mountains or with somebody. But if you are interested and you live in BC, get a hold of us, and we can discuss that and go from there. But she's definitely a 1-year-old healthy pup. And when I say pup, I mean she's trained, and she's just not the best for the city, I don't think. I think that's the only way to put it. And she needs a loving, caring master that is able to give her a yard and give her the time that she needs. And yeah, these little dog parks just don't seem to work. So, but medical applications of cannabis, on that note, PetPal from thenaturalremedy.ca, you can check that out again. We tried PetPal as well, which did work. I mean, to stop, ironically, the dogs stopped shedding. When you deal with dogs that shed a lot, you might want to check into using CBD and low THC to actually stop shedding. I'm assuming it stops the anxiety that is the cause of the shedding, but it's interesting. So unfortunately, it's not enough to fully work on as far as anxiety with my dog goes, and I don't know, I'm gonna have to explore more things. I don't even know why I'm talking about that, but cannabis was one of the applications that we did try even with the dog. Anybody out there, again, there's a lot of different options to using cannabis. Well, I haven't done a freestyle show in a long time. Just jump on here and start talking. So yeah. Legalization legislation. So I don't know, we've been talking about this for a week, and unfortunately a lot of our shows we couldn't get the audio going, so now we can talk a little more bluntly, and I don't have to pay as much attention to trying fixing stuff and getting distracted by other issues. If we can just talk about the topic at hand, from growing near schools, whether that infringes on someone's right to autonomy, you know, being a medical autonomy. Now, recreational I get, but when you tell a medical patient, because you live near a school, daycare, or otherwise, you can't exercise your constitutional right to reasonable access, I should say, and grow a reasonable number of plants indoors. Now, the outdoor thing, to a degree I get, and to a degree I don't get, because if you're within 1 block of a school and you can't grow outdoors in your backyard or indoors because the kids, but 2 blocks away, where they're more likely to break into stuff, you're allowed to grow in your backyard. So the whole Save the Kids thing is an issue that I really want us to look at, because it is the government's calling card, and it's another false flag. It's a true provocation, and it's a false flag. They did it with fire, mold, and organized crime. They're doing it now with Save the Kids. You don't need to save the kids from cannabis. You need to save the kids from opioids and fentanyl. You need to save the kids from real crisis. Educate your kids. Talk about drugs. You don't hide them from drugs. Otherwise, they're going to want to experiment. Talk to them about the good, bad, the indifferent of drugs. At least then they know what they're walking into when they go out there. I grew up in the 80s. I get it. I grew up in the drug war. Only I wasn't so sheltered. So, you know, maybe that's why I raised my daughter different. And I'm proud to say she's not out shooting heroin or shooting cocaine in her arms. And, you know, she understands she doesn't even smoke cannabis. You know, but I hope she picks that up before she picks up alcohol in the future, you know, if that's what she chooses to do. It's just examples of I guess where I'm going with this is legislation I see harmful for Canada, that puts youth, including my daughter, like right now she's turning 18, so, you know, right now technically, even though she doesn't use cannabis, there's a lot of her friends that do. And I'm thinking these kids have their futures, their college, their careers, and their families. How can we come out with a stupid policy that would then rake that child and have them thrown into young offender, where I've done time as a kid in Brookside Youth Center in Ontario. I know what young offender does to kids, and being a product of the system, I am one. Why would we throw our young, you want to save the kids, but throw them in jail? Save the kids from the plant, but lock them up. Just as usual, the government's doing everything ass backwards and talking out their ass and writing policy out their dicks, you know, because most of them are males. No offense to the women, but the policies still being written by stupid men. And I wish that there was a lot more open policy going on and open discussion. I mean, these puppets are putting up in these suits up in Health Canada and that discussing cannabis and not really discussing the problems in this country is really, really appalling. They're Health Canada representatives. They're federal representatives of this country. And here us medical activists are just talking, well, why don't you stop throwing people in jail and look at the real problems? And we're the ones being criminalized, marginalized, and even now, sponsorship, even the show I'm doing here could have me thrown off the air and or whatever, fined. I'm not sure what it is. I really don't care. You know, I never cared. I did this show 10 years ago teaching people how to grow. I even had the American FBI try to tell me I was influencing the Americans, that that's illegal. You know, and like the lawyer said, you're Canadian, you have a federal license. They can't say shit. There's no laws on the internet. So that's exactly what I said to the FBI. They can eat shit. You know, you guys may think this is jokes and fun now, but it's all reality, based in reality, because at one time there was a few people on the internet talking about cannabis and teaching you guys how to grow. And we've come to where we are now. And now we got this legislation that would have the innocent people, you know, that don't know, they're not part of the cannabis culture, but they want to learn about cannabis. They're just coming into it. And they're going to be fought with these incredible Reefer Madness 2.0 laws. There should be no laws. If you're going to legalize, how can you criminalize? How can you legalize and heavily restrict? And why? If you're going to do it, why? On the world stage, why? It's probably one of the biggest questions we need, because people suffer. We suffer. I suffer. My daughter suffers. My family suffers. My wife suffers. And every person that we represent suffers as a result of not getting reasonable, dignified access to cannabis. And because big players, big power players want to monopolize it for profit. I get it. Make your profit. But you don't need to run a monopoly to have a profit. You don't need to crush sick and dying patients in the favor of profit. And you don't need to policy protecting the kids when the kids aren't dying from cannabis in the streets. They're getting addicted to opioids, they're getting introduced to cocaine, and they're getting introduced to heroin. That's what we need to help them with. The cannabis is the least of their goddamn problems. Not to mention all the pedophiles we keep cutting loose in favor of locking up fucking cannabis growers and cannabis dealers. Don't even get me started on this shit, man.
There's some nutcase out on the streets attacking women in East Vancouver.
Yeah, there was women's attacked here. Yeah, there was three women attacked. One formerly raped. One night, just here in Vancouver. And again, this guy's likely going to get PC. You won't be on a range where guys like myself and my friends can get a hold of them. You know, no, PC is protective custody. You know, they'll get that, and then they'll get kicked out early because it costs more to house that fucking pedophile every day, or that rapist. It costs them more money to house them in protective custody, so they kick them out early and put them back to the streets and hold down the convictions of those cannabis growers and those cannabis fucking users. I mean, my God, are you kidding me? If this isn't a doctorian society, or if this isn't in favor of proceeds off of cannabis, I don't know what is. But as a social justice activist, I got to stand my ground, plant my flag, and say, look, I protected my garden, and we're going to legalize cannabis, great. But the social issue at hand in this country is a crisis with drugs, hard drugs. Cannabis can fucking help. Instead of criminalizing cannabis, start to look at its goddamn healing properties. It's frustrating as hell. And literally, people are dying daily on our streets of Vancouver. Daily. Nobody talks about it. And Bill Blair, you know, this guy's supposed to be someone, I've never met him. Usually don't say a lot about people by name. But my take on anybody that is going to want to continue to say, you need to save the kids, and I gotta be careful of lawsuits. You got people like this that say they want to save the kids, but then their expert officer in Allard, Officer Holquest, representing the entire chiefs of police, couldn't substantiate a single crime committed by a medical marijuana grower or end user under the federal guise of the MMAR, Marijuana for Medical, or Medical Marijuana Access Regulations of Canada. So, Mr. Blair, where do we start protecting the kids? And in fact, where were the kids ever in danger? If there was 28,000 licenses in this country, how come we don't got a single statistical data of a child being hurt by cannabis? Or a child being influenced by cannabis? This is all doctored up, written up. I don't know what the fuck you're smoking. Maybe I want some though. Because you're smoking something that's goddamn messing everything up. Writing it all backwards. Democratic free society? No. Not democratic and free when you usher in a monopoly over a God-given plant with the healing powers beyond any other plant on this planet. Not even argued. The federal courts even said it. Don't come before us again. The Supreme Court of Canada, don't come before us again unless you got something realistic to talk about. This is a plant.
Ever again.
But instead, the government of Canada, because of these big lobbyists, choose to continue with Reefer Madness 2.0 because it favors profit. It doesn't favor the people. And we, the people, need to stand up and say, no, this is a free and democratic society, and we're not going to take that. You don't dictate us, government. We dictate to you. You work for us. Canadians got to take back their voice and learn to fucking walk with their feet in their vote like the Americans do. They've planted roots. When they legalize federally in America, they'll be able to grow right off the hop. And there'll be seed to sale for the average consumer because they would never, ever allow a monopoly to set up in their fucking country. They're too much about liberty. And I love God-given liberty. That's the honest gift of autonomy. And that plant was given by God, not by man. No man should control it, patent it, or try to patent evolution. It's all wrong and it's all backwards and it's against the law. But it takes millions of dollars to prove it. So as we showed in Allard, the government lied. People thought I had a tinfoil hat on then. I told them we're going to win and we're going to make it so everybody can grow in Canada. I didn't know for sure. But I said I'd retire as an activist if I was wrong. I'm happy to say I'm here and the case is paid for it. I'm not retiring. I'm just saying that there's a freaking problem now in Canada that we need to face somehow through not only for the cannabis users and end users, many of us are medical patients. That's who I care about, is the end users right now are medical patients. And these medical patients suffer on a daily from needing access to cannabis. They're the ones that need it. And because of this crossfire, because of all this stuff going on, and all this bad legislation, more and more people aren't going to access that cannabis, and more people are going to be put onto pharmaceuticals, and more people are going to die at the hands of the federal government's policies. That's all wrong. By their own admission, there's no deaths attributed to cannabis. Only they're hypotheticals that people may have crashed a car and died while driving cannabis. Yeah, well, plane flew into a few cars too over the years. Fuck, shit happens. Man. Anyway, kind of ranting rave today. I'm not even looking in the chat. That's probably why I feel so weird today. I got my girls sitting in front of me, so it's like having this weird audience sitting in front of me and not even.
We're trying to invite people, babe. So sorry, I'll be.
That's all good.
In a second.
I gotta kind of check into here too. And guys, let us know. I don't know if we'll do a giveaway today. Sometimes I do have a mammoth tent that I want to give away, thanks to OK Garden Supply. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. Again, we can start to only give out product things, which when I say product things, again, t-shirts, sweaters, tents, grow equipment.
Suppository maker we have as well.
Suppository, man, whatever. We got stuff that we're going to be able to give out. It kind of pisses me off that end users, that end patients don't get to have free cannabis because a few trolls that hate the fact that people out there are actually giving out free cannabis need to ruin that for other people. It's just so, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, if the cops ruin it, that's all fine. But when Nanny on the internet wants to go and attack other people and hurt other people, you're only hurting the patients. And go look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself how you feel about that person in the wheelchair, that old lady that didn't get free cannabis because they could have won it on this show or learned about the access. That becomes, yeah, it becomes, why do people do what they do? I'm used to getting attacked as the president of the coalition. It comes kind of with the territory. But I'm not used to seeing people attack goodwill. When you do something of free and goodwill and you attack that, that tells me that you're a bad will. And I hope karma comes to get you, my friend. Female, male, whoever you are, I hope karma comes to get you because you're only hurting the medical patients of Canada. You're certainly not hurting me. So at least come and attack me next time, but don't attack the patients. On that note, guys, I'm going to cut off the break here and kind of regroup my thoughts. And we are going to continue. I want to talk about growing in tents and about how to maximize 4 plants for those that are sticking with the 4-plant limit, and as well how to start to get genetics into the hands of people. I know there's all this talk about barcodes, and the police are going to be able to come in your house and check this and on and on. I mean, honestly, I've heard so many stories, and I'm baffled.
Dog putting their wires, babe.
I'm going to go to commercial here in a sec, guys. I'm just looking for my videos. Really feeling under the weather today. It's weird. You know when you have a rough night's sleep and then you wake up the next morning and I got all gun ho. I was like, yeah, you might as well do a show. You know, the wife wasn't feeling well. She's like, yeah, let's do a show. I'll do the chat. So I'm like, okay, I'll jump on there. And then once you're actually on the show and you're set up, it's like, ugh. And all of a sudden you feel down again. It's kind of weird. It's, well, whatever. It is what it is. I got to grab my regular commercials that we play out here. We got some great stage footage. I got some good stuff once the show gets going. So, you know, tune in. If you guys are home for your Saturday afternoon before you go out tonight, like we are. Last night we had a great night out. We ended up going to just a white spot, but we had a great night out and a great dinner. And yeah, today we're just kicking it around. So I don't even know where the hell I was going with that. I think I'm just reaching at this point. Let's do Coalition Speaks to the owner of Green Planet. So guys, this is a good friend of mine, the owner of Green Planet Nutrients, Mr. Justin. I'll just call him Justin. But there's two owners at Green Planet. There's Steve and Justin. But Justin, who's a good friend of mine and has been a sponsor of Cannabis in Canada for years, was really stood up for us in the beginning with the coalition. I don't know why. This is like a 21. I don't know if I need a 21. Actually, no, I won't play that one. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me. I'm trying to make the show work, but I don't want to cut off to a 20-minute break and make you guys watch a video until I really need a 20-minute break. Right now, I just need a dab and to regather my thoughts. So let me grab a couple of Green Planet commercials here. And I'm also looking for dialogue. You know, we get thousands of people that watch our show each week, and the problem is during the show they don't ask the questions, and then after the show I get hundreds of messages on Instant Messenger asking me questions. And guys, this is the time to ask. That's why I'm here. I'm willing to holistically cannabis, root to fruit, soil to oil, farm to flame, seed to sale. Let's do it. That's what I'm here for. But if you wonder why I'm not getting back to you in the other messages, it's because I don't sit on the air for 4 hours answering questions to then spend another 8 hours answering them in Instant Messenger. You know, I don't mind following up with patients where applicable. But honestly, guys, the open questions and the dialogue, we got lots of growers, lots of people that watch this show. I think that when we get into the growing topics, it'll get a lot better because I'm returning back to that. I've got some grow videos lined up here for today as well. But I'm definitely looking at that, and I will review the chats. I'm not in the chat to view it right now, so I will definitely review the chat and go from there. There's Growing Exposed episode 6 that's out now, and you can see this. This is the teaser for it, but if you would like to see the whole Growing Exposed, then you can go to growingexposed.com, and I'm happy to be working with this crew. I've been in episodes 2 and 4, and I hope to be in a few more in the near future. Again, it's a season, so there's only so many shows in the season, but it's around the world. And it was established in 2000, Growing Exposed was established in 2016, and already, if you go by High Times right now, you'll find my picture of me standing in my garden doing what I do best. That's what you'll see in High Times. And I'm proud to be working with this crew. Growing Exposed is taking it where no one has before, exposing what growing really is on an international scale. We'll see you after break.
Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Amanda McKay, and this is another episode of Growing Exposed. We're the show that takes you inside the world of cannabis growing. This week, we're going to take you to a garden nestled amongst an old-growth forest in a remote area of British Columbia. Of course, like most of our tours, this will be the first time cameras have ever been allowed inside. We'll introduce you to Justin. He's a 20-year veteran in the hydroponic industry, and he's going to lead us through this large facility from beginning to end. He'll reveal all their secrets and show us what they do to grow a high-quality strain called Super Kush. Let's get started with a quick rundown of what else you can expect to see in this exciting episode of Growing Exposed.
First, we take a look at how a 300-light garden keeps it cool.
They're putting about approximately 1 million BTUs. That's British thermal units. That's obscene amounts of cooling for a garden we're about to go take a look at that's second to none.
We compare the differences between a large operation and something anyone can do at home.
The environmental conditions are the same, no matter you're running a 1-light garden or a 300-light garden.
Next, we explore how this simple system gets big results.
So what you notice in here is wall-to-wall cannabis. There's 80 lights, and it's clean.
David Robinson shares workout tips for strengthening plants in a segment we call Teachings of the Garden Sage.
So by supplying your garden with an adequate level of air movement, the important thing is that all the plants are dancing.
Finishing up, we soak in the bright lights, smelling the sweet aromas in the flower room.
My hands are covered in resin. I wish you had smell-o-vision because it stinks beautifully.
Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Amanda McKay, and this is another episode of Growing Exposed, the show that takes you inside the world of cannabis growing. In today's episode, tour guide Jason Wilcox is going to reveal a garden that would make Martha Stewart proud. It's probably the most organized and certainly the cleanest that we have ever seen. So from bedroom to flower room, let's get ready for a classic approach to growing. Now, of course, Jason Wilcox has been an outspoken advocate of access to medical cannabis. So much so that when the federal government of Canada threatened to shut down the program in 2011, Jason led and won a David versus Goliath fight that spanned almost 5 years. This victory enabled this next garden to flourish. It also allowed approximately 30,000 other growers to continue to enjoy the freedom to grow for themselves. And we think that's pretty cool. But before we jump into this tour, let's take a quick look at what else we will see in this episode of Growing Exposed.
First, we check out a veg room where one of these bulbs is doing their own thing.
And this grower has went and decided to put one high-pressure sodium amongst all the other metal halide.
David Robinson cleans house with some helpful insights with his teachings of the garden sage.
Cleanest floor ever. You could walk around in here in a pair of white socks.
As Jason walks us through the system and setup behind this immaculate grow room.
So here we are now in one of BC's medical marijuana grow rooms. I'm at heaven. I can come through here and show you bud after bud after bud. This is like Candyland.
We head to Method 7 headquarters to see a product that, well, helps you see.
People always ask, why do you need grow room glasses? And once again, we call this the money shot.
As we explore a unique way of keeping rows of cannabis plants under control.
So they went and they bought volleyball nets and they just strung them along. And this is like brilliant. This is stoner improvisation if you have it.
Finishing up in the flower room as Jason shows you what to look for when it's time for harvest.
At this point, I would use your scope, look at the trichome and see whether it's milky and how much amber is on those trichomes so I can determine whether it's my time to harvest. And welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox. We are kicking it here today at the Beard Brothers Society. Now this is where it all began. Compassion, end user, we the people that own the plants deserve to be able to explore as many applications. And the Beard Brothers continue to do that for the end user. They help the patients fight for our gardens as we move forward. Now we're here to continue to push back for them. Soldiers of the coalition, please stand up and support those who supported you.
Here at Beard Brothers, our in-house staff are very knowledgeable, and they're well aware that not everyone is the same when it comes to using cannabis for medicine. If you have any questions regarding your particular ailment or how cannabis can be useful to you, we look forward to hearing from you at our shop. One of the reasons to choose Beard Brothers is our stance that patients come first. We've proved this in the past with our advocacy through the Cannabis Rights Coalition and through many interviews with Jason Wilcox on Cannabis in Canada. If you come into our shop, one of the beautiful things here is all of our products are at a high quality and an affordable price so that no patient has to suffer with low quality meds or lack of meds.
Like we've fought for patients' gardens and growers, we're also fighting for a free and fair market now. So that's why you want to come down here and support the Beard Brothers, because we are here to support you. We want to be able to have mom and pop shops. We don't want these big corporate conglomerates trying to crush us and bring us down. We're here to fight and we're not going anywhere.
We're located at 849 4th Street here in beautiful Victoria, BC. This is our storefront facility. We also have our online mail order service. As you can see by the beautiful display case behind us, quality is always number one.
You do have a right to medicate yourself how you choose to in this country.
I'm back here now. I'm with Queese Hamilton. Queese, welcome back to Cannabis Canada.
Cheers. Thank you for having me. It's always good to be here.
Oh, I got everybody banging on this over at our tent. On the pizza that you made for me, it was $1,000 piece, and yeah, we've seen each other around. So what? You just had your big glass gala. How'd that go, dude?
That was wild. Honestly, like hundreds of people showed up for the VIP night, and it was an absolute success. Like I couldn't have asked for anything more to have happened that day. You know, only good people showed up, only good vibes. There was so much good food. There was good beer. You know, it was just like, it was a night to remember. Like the dabs, everything. You know, it was too much fun.
Right on.
Another one soon. Definitely.
Right on. And this is going to be a 420 to remember. We're kicking it here at the Beard Brothers Society tent, and with the boys here and having a good time. Queese, thanks for popping on the show. We'll do another. We'll do an interview soon, man. I got to get over and film your studio.
Absolutely.
All right. Stay tuned for the next segue. Cheers. All right, I'm here with Brad from the Beard Brothers Society. We're at the Beard Brothers 10. Man, they've always got it going on. Glass jars, proper way to cure your bud. This is amazing stuff. The girls got it going on. Dabbing people out over here. Some amazing live resin. Brad, what's going on with Beard Brothers Society? Man, you've been hard at work.
You know, man, it's about the people, right? It's always about the people and about the patients. We're here.
The Canadian government's getting out of the marijuana business. Canada's health minister announced changes to medicinal marijuana access. They're aimed at reducing crime, but many people think it will do the exact opposite.
He's one of 26,000 Canadians with a license to grow medical marijuana, starting to feel anxious again since the Canadian government announced the system's about to change. Soon there will be no more medical marijuana produced and distributed by the government, and no more growing regulated marijuana from home.
Jason Wilcox has been organizing the coalition against the repeal of the medical marijuana access regulations, particularly the personal production licenses and designated production licenses.
I believe in patient options. You should be able to go and have somebody grow it for you if they have the place in the room, the ability, or order it from a pharmacy or a big business, whatever you want to call it, however the program is modeled. And then you should also have the right fundamentally, especially if it's to put in your own body, just like when you smoke it, you should have the right to grow it.
Health Canada will, if successful, only license large-scale commercial operators who produce our medicine at up to 4 times the current cost.
Government is simply hijacking and cornering the market, my friends. The issue is getting up to 26,222 legal growers, trying to get as many of them as possible to understand and unite and get on this file so that we can actually be prepared. So when Health Canada chooses to make their move, we're all prepared to take it on.
A federal judge has approved an injunction allowing current licensed medical marijuana users to continue growing their own pot past April 1st.
A court in British Columbia ruled users can continue growing their own pot for now. This decision comes less than 2 weeks before new laws for medical pot take effect in Canada.
This is huge news, you know, and then so many patients right now, they're not suffering tonight. Tonight they're going to get to sleep. It's very hard for me not to get angry and frustrated as I think about the 500 plus impact statements I've read of people paranoid, and not just paranoid, God-given fear of going back onto pharmaceuticals because of what the government's doing now to medical patients. It's unconstitutional, it's not Canadian, it's unethical, and it's not right.
My doctor, he wouldn't take my MRIs, he wouldn't send my MMR forms, and through other things, like I was really having a tough time, but it seems that one major stressor, removing that threat of losing my garden by the government, even having the threat of armed guards coming into my home to make sure that it's shut down, really hurt me and hindered my healing. And that was the beginning.
I'm
I'm aware of people who don't have a medicinal license, who buy their marijuana from medicinal growers.
I would use the analogy though too, that we look at how many drunk drivers and people on pills right now are going out driving drunk and killing people. We police the drunk drivers. We don't throw all the cars off the road. And that's what they were trying to do with the patients, and I'm glad that justice stepped in and interfered and allowed the Constitution to have a chance to put the MMPR under constitutional scrutiny.
Right.
I just really hope that we all get what I think we deserve, which is freedom. And that's what this is all about.
The coalition of what's going on, these are people that are willing to stand up to the government with their endless amounts of money in pockets and, do what we can, hit the streets, hit the roads, canvass, talk to people, just go out there and promote to one person at a time, change perception and views by, articulating truth. And, I'm proud to be a part of that movement.
Now we're at $180,000 raised. What are we looking at over and above the $250,000 that we originally set out?
I'd have to estimate high. I'd have to say, look, let's shoot for $1 million because who knows? You've seen the attitude of the federal government. They recently are putting ads on paid for by the taxpayers about the dangers of cannabis. It's just another herb.
There's going to be a lot going on in the next year. It's our one big historical chance. Either we make it happen or we don't.
It doesn't matter who you are or what you are. If you have a belief in ensuring that people's rights should be taken care of, you should be donating.
It's for the people. It's we the people who want this, and it's coming.
People needed access to these products because it helped prolong and help save a lot of suffering.
This is going to end. We're past the point of whether we will or will not win our gardens. We will. So yeah, you licensed producers, you better be worried. I'm not going anywhere. This is far from over.
I'm pretty confident that you're going to win. I mean, you can't guarantee it, but I feel like that's going to be a preserved thing, the right to grow your own cannabis for medical purposes, as it should be.
I think that we got a super strong case. I'm really looking forward to what John can do in the court, and I hope it's heard fairly and with an open mind.
I hope we legalize, but again, I hope we legalize with gardens so that there isn't this fight that I worry about between the underground, these growers that exist, and I know them. The BC economy is almost run by these growers. If that starts a gas war, then security is going to go up because the gangs get involved or real organized crime gets involved. I say, why doesn't the top down first recognize it as medicine, take it out of the CDSA, classify it as a safe and harmless herb it is, and put it into herbology, or put it back into pharmacopoeia and let the doctors prescribe it the way it should be, and look after the damn patients. At the end of the day, it's about the patients. And welcome back, guys. So, sorry I had to cut away there. I had to change out a battery and deal with a phone call, and that just happens. You do stuff on the fly, but that's what's good about broadcasting software is we can quickly switch off, and I apologize for that extended delay. But it is what it is. It's Saturday. What the hell? Let's just do some dabs and talk a lot of shit, and I'm dabbing on some rosin. I do got some fucking hash. I don't know who's in Vancouver that likes hash. We were talking about bringing hash back, and this is so very true, but I mean, we got a couple. This is Gold Stamp from Natural Remedy, but we got a couple ounces. I don't know, you guys. It doesn't look like an ounce. I mean, you just can't really see it from back there. But anyway, a couple little bricks, and a couple ounces, about 56 grams there, just to search. I really want to get this around because we hookah'd this out. I went to a Christmas party this year, and we hookah'd out upstairs. We had the Red Lebanese, we had the Arabic Sunset, and we had the Gold Stamp, and we just. We definitely did the hookah the way it was supposed to be done. Yeah. Anyway, that's something that's going on. So I think I'm going to break into this hash a little bit today too, and start to dabble on that. But anyway, if you are in the Vancouver area, let me know if you want to sesh with us. And yeah, because it's one of the things, Vicky and I loved it. It's like it brings hash back. It takes you back to when you were in high school. For those of us that have been in the culture, our entire lives, it takes you right back to when you were first, introduced to cannabis. Usually you were introduced to some of this imported hash. It was called marijuana, of course, back then. But you were also introduced to hash. That was green oil, honey oil, hash. That was all the 80s stuff. '70s and '80s, I guess I should say. Now, growing tents, the legislation as well. So that stuff around the schools. I've had a few people say to me, "Well, I can't grow now because I live near a school." And again, I often wonder, how are they going to enforce this? Who is going to know where a daycare is? I mean, I don't know if there's a daycare near me. You know, there's all these different things that don't make a lot of sense. And it brings into the sheer question of reasonable, dignified right to access in accordance with the charter, the issue of autonomy, and then does that get stripped in favor of the hypothesis, again, no proof, no statistical data, hypothesis that we need to save the kids? Now, it's a defense that's going to need to be waged eventually, because somebody will at some point probably run into this problem, and then it'll be challenged, and it'll be hopefully the Senate throws it out before it even gets there. But protecting the kids, again, there has to be some logic, and there has to be some reason behind what they're doing, and logic has to dictate reason, and it's just not. You can't put 4 plants in 500,000 homes in Canada, you know, or 1 million homes in Canada, and then say we want to protect the kids from from cannabis. It's going to be all around. It's going to be like the aloe vera plant. It already is all around. That's why you want to protect them.
Bring back hot knives.
Bring back hot knives, yes. If you're in the Vancouver area, hit us up and maybe we'll break out the hot knives.
Fucking hot knives. What's always with the friend?
No, it's true though. The hot knives would be fucking, yeah. We didn't do that last time. We did the hookah, but we didn't break out the hot knives. Now you got me fucking thinking. You know what? We press this stuff. I know, good old BTs, man. I fucking remember that.
Oh man, I know.
But now, I mean, we've also squished. We might even do some squishing. We've done some rosin pressing with hash. And again, when you're, I'm not trying to. I guess when you're blessed to be able to have access to cannabis and in different ways, and you can play around with these things. See, we had a chance to press the red Lebanese. We had a chance to press, you know, all these different hashes, imported hashes, and some have more oils than others. So of course, you're thinking this is just pure trichomes, and you're just gonna go ahead and and press them, and you actually get a nice return. The only problem is hash. Hash rosin is just like hash. You know, you get out of it sort of the same thing. You kind of get a different earthy taste to it, but it very much so presses into a nice oil, and you get a lot more return, of course, because it's pure trichomes that have just been, to a degree, oxidized. But, even here, the one I was trying to show you guys, if I was to cut it in half, and that's for all y'all hash makers out there, remember, right now you can't really see it because the oxidation has changed it in here. And made it brown like the outside.
Bring it up closer? That is one big cookie. Holy heck. Slow, right?
I was going to try and show how it's degraded itself there, and show the inside of that. So you can see how the oxidization on the outside. Oh, sorry, wait, I got to switch cameras. One sec, guys. That's my bad. There. So you can see there, flip it on side. You can see like that's 2 ounces of hash. Flip it back. Now the degradation is right in the side there. Flip it back around. Yeah, right there. So that changing brown, if I was to cut that open right now, you would see it's all golden. It's all nice and again, the way it should be, gold stamp. But as soon as you cut it and you let it sit out for a little bit, it'll start to go brown, which is standard.
That is actually like what they say, a brick. Truly, it's the width of a brick.
Yeah, well, it's cut off a brick.
God, it smells amazing.
I mean, this is straight import, so. But there. We didn't have hash on the list today to talk about, but hash is now on the list to talk about. So I don't know how many out there love it, but there's domestic hash and then there's import hash, and I don't know what it is that the people have been doing in Pakistan and in India and etc. But I don't know what they've been doing since I was a kid. But they haven't changed their process, and their end product is still the same. And I still say to this day, nobody's died from cannabis. There's been no cancer related to it, and they smoke it like crazy over there. You know, hash, it's just normal. It's in every place. It's abnormal not to smoke hash, and here it's abnormal to smoke it. So that's what's backwards about our free and domestic society, democratic society.
Well, I was just saying in the chat, you know what? You and I break ourselves off probably like a nickel-sized piece or a dime-sized piece, depending on our pain, if we're out of.
They can't hear you. You gotta yell and raise your voice right up so they can hear you.
No, get you to explain how to take hash as a pain medicine. People don't know that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. There's also Vicky makes a good point with hash as a pain med. Now, when when she first, when we first got together, I had a bunch of hash around, and I told her that I would just eat a piece, and she was in pain. I said, why don't you just eat some? And she hadn't done that before. And again, this is from being able to press it into rosin, from being able to just smoke it, to just being able to eat it. You know, you can do all that, and you get the same medicinal effects. At the end of the day, hash is nothing more than keef. Keef is nothing more than stripped trichomes off the cannabis plant, and then they're compressed together. And what happens is it oxidizes, and that's why you get that browning off. And when you cut a slab open, it gets nice and golden again. All hash should be golden on the inside, except for that red Lebanese. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's a strain they use. I'd love to get over to Lebanon and know. Actually, I wouldn't love to get over to Lebanon based on all the shit that's going on over there. They'll probably shoot my ass. But those Lebanese got it going on with their Lebanese hash. It's always been the same. It hasn't changed. And to this day, it's still my favorite hash. Next to, well, Gold Stamp in Lebanese, are in the same area. That Arabic sunset at nighttime, it really is that sunset hash. Now, you guys want to be out there and be hash connoisseurs, go ahead. Now, the modern day hash connoisseurs are the guys that take keef and they sift it and they sift it and they sift it. And my buddy Johnny B, I love you, Johnny, but you sift and you sift and you sift. At the end of the day, you're still dealing with trichomes, and you're getting really good examples of high purity hash. In fact, now you've got crystalline. So THCVA crystalline, or THC, THC crystalline. This is 99.9% pure hash, unlike the hash I showed you here. Like this is a couple small bricks of hash, but this is nowhere near pure. I mean, hash I think comes in. I remember testing with the Green Cross with Dr. Hornby and that. I remember that hashes in general come in around between 40 and 60, maybe 70% pure. When it comes to cannabis. Then shatters come in around 80 to 90. That's why they got so popular. And then distillates came in, and distillates hit up into the upper 90s.
Hey, you know what I heard, which is so awesome?
Sorry, just in closing, after distillate came the final crystalline, which is now 99.9% pure. So when you want to look at the scope of hashes, you've got the scope from imports, which do the same job, right up to your $150 superimposed crystalline. It's still going to medicate you the same way. It's just we've taken this into a designer drug and artistic phase, and I really like that. But I'm an old school guy that just loves to smoke my weed, and I love to smoke my hash, and it's bugging me the more I talk about it, actually, because it's frustrating. It's an expensive habit to have, being a cannabis user. Do we know where any of my big mason jars are yet?
There's a couple beside me on the floor from 420.
A couple beside me on the floor?
We'll have them on display.
Oh, those are small ones, though. Yeah. No, because you can't store a half pound in those.
Oh, the old one.
The big ones. I need 2 of them. They're quarter-pound jars. Anyway. We don't have a hookah here, do we? Yeah, I won't fit in those either.
Yeah.
No. It's okay, just leave that one out for now. No biggie. We'll have to find the Sea Vault. Let me see that one. That actually has Bovita packs in it. It's dirty as shit, but
I don't know where the Sea Vault is either.
and those are good Bovita packs. They're not fully dead yet.
No.
Again, Johnny B does these now. He's got his warehouse going. Years ago, I did, or about 3 years ago, I worked with Sea Vault, and I did the testing, and of course, Sea Vault uses the Bovita packs on the inside. At the end of the day, it's all about reverse curing, taking your dry cannabis and being able to bring it back. And since we were kids, we tried to do it with banana peels, with oranges, etc. That's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
And this is a Sea Vault. And this is a Belvedere pack for a big Sea Vault. So this goes in here. No, it's already clean, Vic, don't worry about it. This goes in here, and your Sea Vault basically goes on. Now, basically what this does is this will actually pull, it only go up to, I think it's 62 or 50, yeah, 62% humidity. So same as a cigarette pack. When you go buy your cigarettes, and when you go buy your cigarettes, at the store, you look at the humidity, I think it's 56% or something. Just look at the humidity ratings. It'll be very much the same as you get your cannabis in the future once connoisseur cannabis becomes, quite frankly, more I don't have a new one. So just, do you want to show that to the camera there? Good,
Oh, it smells amazing.
Yeah, now they can see it. Some LA chocolate. So again, this is a kind of, that's good.
It smells awesome.
Here, throw this into the,
Beautiful nuts. Very, very pretty.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, where I'm at with that is just that, is to start to cure that, put it back in. I mean, it's already cured, but again, when it's amazing actually, and it's nice tight nugs. But again, for the purpose of storing, you want a cool, dark place. Not necessarily cool, but a cooler. And this just locks it down so it's airtight. You don't want any air getting in. Oh, you don't lock your edges in. You definitely don't want any air. Any jar you use, you don't have to have a C-vault. You can just use a mason jar and put it into a dark cupboard. And it's sort of like what I did here. It's got Bovita packs in the bottom, and you wrap them with a little bit of tin foil, and then you put them in the bag, and it will actually bring back the moisture. But this is doing the same thing right now. So there's a ½ pound in here that will sit there, and whenever I'm ready, it will always hold at 62% RH. So the relative humidity, and keeping a perfect cure, not losing any terps, not losing anything, and keeping that in there. And that's a proper way to store your cannabis if you're going to store it. Ideally, I've always said, I've done testing on this, store in glass, and you don't lose nothing versus tin. But if you're trying to store temporarily or whatever, I'm just using this as an example on today's show. But if you're trying to recoup dry cannabis and try to get it back to a moist state, the Bovita packs are the way to go. Check out John Barrafello, and he's now got a warehouse out in the out and out towards Abbotsford. He's got himself a warehouse out there, and he's got all kinds of stuff going on with these Bovita packs, and they very much just are for storing and reverse curing. And if you Google reverse curing, you'll find I was the first one to call it that, and I was the first one to teach you guys how to take your dry cannabis and make it wet again using these packs. And it was because I was taught by the guys at C-Vault, and they realized how to do this and how important it was, because a lot of us have our weed sitting around. Again, if you're a grower, you'll start to realize that you get lots of your smalls and you have all kinds of stuff sitting around, and then all of a sudden it gets dry and bony, and you're like, oh man, I got to run this into oil or something. And even then you get green oil because it's so goddamn dry. So there's different things that you look at, right? Like, what are you going to do nowadays? You close loop systems and distillate. It doesn't matter if it's dry. You want it dry. You dehydrate it, for that matter. But I'm showing different reasons. Again, for me, the smoker wants a cured bud that when you pick it up, it's, you know what I'm talking about. You put it in your grinder, it grinds up. It doesn't come out as dust. It comes out as something that feels like tobacco. That's because tobacco has the exact same RH, humidity, in its packaging to keep it fresh. It's all about keeping your cannabis fresh, guys. I'm not trying to sound facetious when I say that. I'm just trying to be as realistic as I can in how we do this. So with this ½ pound, I think as we get this going, I'm not sure. I'm gonna see if I can get Mikey or Vicky mic'd up long enough after one of the breaks. I want her to show you guys how she collects the reclaim, because you guys might not understand what I'm talking about when I first said this. And because I'm liable to break this piece, and it's another $300 Drew Edwards piece, thanks to Master Glass, one of our sponsors on the show here. But most importantly, he does all his pieces. He has some new cool designs Vicky was showing me this morning. But a lot of guys don't understand their reclaim, and those that do, the value that you're putting into your dabs and into your distillate or whatever it is that you're using, or hash, whatever it is that you're dabbing, it comes down into here. This oil, it's still 80, 60%, 90%, it just depends on what you're dabbing. It's still very pure. So, you can either redab it, which some people do, and to each their own. But what Vicky does is she'll show you, she has a reclaim container here where we dab so much that this is our usual claim every couple of days. We have to clean it out. But I want her to show you guys on the show how she cleans it out and then recaps them. And at nighttime, those are what we take for caps. And it's all about keeping cannabinoid titration up in your body and maximizing the cannabinoid use that you can use. So even though it looks like it's already used and spent, it's not. It can be repurposed and used still to feed your endocannabinoid system. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about as well as part of medical applications of cannabis. So there's a lot that we can cover and a lot that we can talk about on today's show, and that we will talk about. Now that everything is working, I'm so happy to now move on to the next stage. See, once you get all your equipment working and everything is finally out of hiccups, the next stage naturally is to decorate your studio and make it look better, like not just have a TV in the background, but have the proper lighting and do everything that comes next. But you know what? We did this live on the air. It grew with you guys. You guys got to see the show grow. Even though I've been on the air for 10 years, you guys got to see us learn the broadcasting aspect of the show from the ground up. And through all the hiccups and things, thank you for staying with us. And now that we're at a stage where we can run better shows, thank you. What?
People are like, holy shit, every couple of days? Holy consumption, we gotta clean that every couple of days.
Yeah, every couple of days.
Yeah. We got some happy dabbing happening
So,
in here. I don't know
but yeah, well, that's, again, normally there's a lot more. We've been dabbing way too much. In fact, I actually started putting back a little, slowing down on the dabbing. Just set it there, please. Been slowing down on it just myself. It's been too much on my lungs to a degree. You start coughing, it's just like, oh my God, you know, at what point do you stop? And then you just, yeah, you wake up in pain again and you realize why you need cannabis again. And dabs, again, for rapid onset, you get dabs and you get that rapid onset. If you're looking for medicinal treatment, you're going to need the oils, etc., to keep the higher titration, the higher cannabinoid levels in your blood. And it's what Rick Simpson taught us. It's not what I'm trying to teach you. It's what medical has taught us. Every prescription you get is, you know, 2 times or 3 times a day, so that you have the same titration in your blood all day long, so you maximize your treatment of whatever ailment you're dealing with. In this case, your cannabis deals with so many ailments that you just want to keep your titration up, period. So taking it 3 times a day in an edible form is optimizing your cannabinoid treatment. Smoking it is rapid onset. It helps for people with seizures, spasmicity, and people who in chronic pain that just want to be alleviated from pain for the next 10 or 15 minutes. The unfortunate part that I've found is that dabs, they go up and they come right back down fast. And there's not a sustainability unless you have lots of dabs and the ability to keep dabbing. I know I've went through so many pens and grams of shatter just from that reason. It's just kind of up, down, and when you're on the road, it's not always easy. So. I got Justin Loizos. I'm going to play some footage here from Toronto 420. I played this yesterday, try and catch my breath and do a dab, and decide on what I'm going to do next year, what we're going to talk about, if anything. It is Saturday afternoon, and I am beat. I can't believe I'm sitting here just friggin' talking to myself. It's probably because I'm not used to running a solo show. Since Christmas, I think.
You're doing great, babe.
So, and there are many, many pens there. Now I can sort of see the chat. As long as they'll let me in this chat, it's okay. I can communicate better with you guys. But for some reason, again, when I say they, whoever are the interested people, like right there, you can see it boots me out of Facebook. So I can't really be in the chat and communicate with you guys like I'd like to. So I got to rely on secondary feedback. And let's see if I pull this up on screen. Yeah, if anybody's know about the S7, what's a good sweeper program to sweep out any malware? Because I know somebody's done something to my phone. You know, it's some sort of software. But if you guys know of a good sweeper program for the S7 or for Androids, let me know, and then I can download that app and I can try and sweep out whatever it is going on with my phone, because it interferes directly with the Facebook app. So it's clearly a malware issue or another software issue, like I just learned the other day. Shit. Alrighty, I'm going to cut off here to these. Now I'm going to try and play these in the correct order like I did yesterday. I better pull this in front of me. Play these in the correct order, because this is Toronto 420, and then I'll show you some more BC 420. We'll talk a little bit about that. I had a chance to interview James Hudson with Dark Harvest, so we'll talk a little bit about that, but we'll do it backwards today. We'll put on the 420 footage. And right from, again, Justin Loizos, those who understand, he works for Cannabis Canada back out of Toronto as a volunteer, as a host. And he's also come, I've gotten to know him since 2013 when we met, and he came aboard the coalition to help me fight and protect our gardens. And we've become friends since then, but I've got to watch this kid rise from being the medical patient who was just humble and quiet, but knew a lot, to the guy that he is now, that can get on a stage, as you'll see in this footage, and speak to 10,000 people from the heart. On that note, we'll see you when we get back. Thanks.
In Canada, I'm Justin Loizos, and we're presenting to you the Just Compassion Show. What Just Compassion is, it's a highlight on everything compassionate in the cannabis world, mainly focusing on medicinal cannabis through the transition into legalization. Here we are, pre-legalization, with a lot of great people who have been supporting our community for a long time, some of them 2 decades. I just had an interview with a wonderful Tracy Curley. I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of excited people. legalization is looming. I think we're on the cusp of a major victory, and the hard work isn't over. So we're going to call out on everyone to get active, to engage local politicians, local politics, and if there's an infringement on your rights, your charter rights, engage law. And let's do this. Let's get active, let's get engaged, let's get organized, and let's make legalization the legalization that we need, and make sure that patients in the future have dignified access from coast to coast. Justin Loizos, Just Compassion, 420 2017. Peace.
Okay, so what's your name, first of all?
My name's Woody. Yeah.
So Woody, are you here for 420 right now?
Yeah, I'm here for 420.
So what does 420 mean to you?
Well, 420 to me is like a second Easter almost, right? But instead it's like the time where like you, instead of getting caught for it all, getting in trouble, you know what I mean? You honestly can smoke. Like all these people around me are smoking, you know what I mean? I bet you she's smoking, everybody is, you know what I mean? So it's actually pretty great.
And what's your favorite part about the event so far?
My favorite part is coming up to this city and this square, but my least favorite part is that this is the last year for it. So I'm here to get lit. Anybody else, like, it's just going to be a great time.
Awesome, man. And do you have a favorite strain?
Favorite strain? Yeah, it would be the purple kush that I do have in my pocket.
There you go. Thank you so much, my friend. Enjoy your 420.
Yeah, enjoy
Appreciate
your 420 too, man.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
Get Mike Reeder to come for a dab when he has a sec.
Mike! Woo! Mike! I want you to come in, please!
Hey, who is this guy? All right, so I want to show them what you're dabbing me on. Is that a portable email? It is. This guy's got a portable email. What do you want? Where is it? Give it up, everybody, for one of Toronto's best, Mr. Master Roller.
Get Mike Reeder to come for a dab when he has a sec.
This is 420 here in Toronto, Dundas Square, and we're repping.
All right, so tell me, my friend, what does 420 mean to you?
It's like tradition.
Most definitely. I appreciate it. This guy's got it all figured out. He's got the whole theme down. What are you up to today? What's your plan for the day?
I don't know. Go home.
There you have it, folks. Epic news. What's your name?
Andrew Sad.
There you go. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it. Thanks for being on the show. That was awesome. Oh, sorry about that.
Hey, this is Justin Loizos, Cannabis in Canada, with a new show, the Just Compassion Show. First person I've ran into here, rightfully so, Tracy Curley.
Hi there, happy 420.
Happy 420. There's so many faces across this country who I feel are responsible for what's looming, legalization. And one of the people who I know is responsible in many different ways and has been involved in the medical community is Tracy Curley. So if you want to just say hi, what 420 means to you, and what do you expect with the new regulations?
Hi, well, 420 to me is always, it's a celebration. GMM has always been our protest, but 420 has always been our celebration of this is us, we're coming out of the grow closet, and when we first did this 10 years ago here at Dundas Square, there was 30, maybe 40 of us, and now there's going to be thousands of people walking through here today. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
It is incredible. So yeah, we can celebrate together. I know this is going to help me celebrate. We got some pixie sticks here, which are just incredible treats for my friend. Yes. And they've been around and helping patients for a long time here in Toronto. So thanks again, Tracy. And I guess, what do you expect in 2017, 2018 with legalization? Are you excited?
I am. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's a win.
Okay.
We've got a lot of things to fight for still.
Yeah.
But the fact that our patients now have access to LPs, they can grow for themselves, they can designate a grower.
Yeah.
Recreational users will be allowed to grow up to 4 plants and carry up to an ounce. I mean, and you don't have to worry about criminal records for simple possession. It's a huge win. The other things will be fought in court, and they'll be fought by other activists and other patients. But at this point, you know, if you would have told us 10 years ago we'd be looking at legalization this 420, I don't know that I would have believed it, but here we are.
High five. All right, cool. So happy 420 and thank you.
And congratulations on the new show.
Oh, peace. Yeah, check it out. Okay.
No worries, no worries. Just let me know when you're ready. Cool. Hey guys, how's it going? This is Bo Pinto from Just Compassion TV and Cannabis in Canada. We have our special friend here. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm JT from Crop King Seeds.
Awesome. And Crop King, if you guys don't know, is one of the largest seed companies in Canada. Incredible genetics that they have here. Tell us a little bit more about sort of Crop King's, what the options that you guys have available. Some of the, maybe some of your favorite ones.
Sure, man. I mean, and I hate to do it, but we are actually now, as of like 2 weeks ago, the largest seed company in the world.
There you go, the largest in the world. That's amazing.
We're the largest in Canada and North America now. Literally, as about 2 weeks ago, we're the largest seed company worldwide, and we are worldwide. We ship worldwide. So we have offices in Mexico, Denver, California, and our main office, obviously, out of Vancouver.
What's one of your most popular things right now?
Well, we have our few signature strains that do pretty well for us. One of our new ones that I personally have grown, it's phenomenal. It's the Cali OG crossed with haze. So it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. You're getting that nice haze effect, but you're also getting a little bit of that OG kind of couch lock. So it's kind of a trippy buzz, but it's really one to definitely taste for sure.
There's a lot of people going to be growing their own now, like with these new laws coming out. You know, people are allowed to have 4 plants. So, you know, what would you say for somebody who's like a beginner in growing that a good strain to start with if they're just starting out?
You know what, I generally recommend that beginners go with auto-flowering varieties. So the auto-flowering is a non-photosensitive plant, so it doesn't need a change of light schedule or anything season like that. It'll just go into flower automatically, say in about 2.5 weeks. So it's pretty like set it and forget it more or less. If you've got the right size pot, which usually about 5 gallons will do it in a decent soil, you really won't have to do a lot with it. You could grow it on your balcony, you could grow it in your windowsill. They're very versatile plants. Best thing to throw in the backyard and to mix with your tomato plants so no one will see them. Phenomenal. Yeah.
Is there any strain in particular that it's easier to grow, other than like as far as?
I'll be honest with you. All of our strains are pretty user friendly. There's only maybe about 1 or 2 that are more in the advanced level. But I mean, all the auto.
One of the more advanced ones.
Yeah, I would say the Cali OG would probably be more advanced. It's kind of a, I would say, a bit of a finicky strain. But for the most part, I haven't had any problems with any of these strains, and I test grow them, so.
And honestly, man, as somebody who's experienced some of your genetics before, they're incredible, and we want to thank you just for everything you've added to the community and how much you guys contribute and help out. So just want to say thank you so much, and appreciate it. Yeah, you too. Take care. Thanks, brother.
We got a special guest right now, and he's bringing up a special guest, and it's going to be a lot of fun. This guy's done so much for the goddamn medical community. It's insane, so much so that he's bringing up a fucking live weed plant. So let's give it up for the live weed plant, too. Come on, Courtney, give it up for Justin Loyos, everybody.
What an introduction. Thanks for Mike Rita. Big shout out to everyone who's been before me. Joanne, who last year had my favorite speech, who mooned the whole audience. So a big round of applause for everybody who's been up so far, please. More important, there we go. I'm not that good at engaging the crowd. I just want to send a message here. Look, that plant, I was told that I would not be able to grow that plant in 2012. Laughed at by some wearing suits at corporate meetings. I remember being at one, we were at a banquet hall with all the licensed producers, some of them coming up to me and literally laughing at us, saying that soon our right to grow our own cannabis will be gone. So my friend Jason Wilcox in Vancouver, he put the government on trial, and then he mounted an army. Through that, here we are in 2017, and now every Canadian can grow their own cannabis. Every sick Canadian can grow their own cannabis under the ACMPR. So that's amazing. It shows that what you can do. If you ever thought your voice can't be heard, just know, stand up today. If you're upset with the legalization platform, get up, do something about it. Engage local politicians, your MPs. It's about us. Our voices were heard. Legalization only happened because of the activists across this nation. Some of them who are up here today, some of them who will be up here. It's about you. You can be that person. Your voice can be heard, and we can be heard together. Join the Cannabis Rights Coalition, and we will fight together. And we will free this weed for everybody, for this whole nation and generations to come. Thank you.
Hey, come on, let him hear one more time. Justin Loizos, everybody, let him hear. And let's give it up for the weed plan one more time.
Leave it here.
Leave it here? Yeah, man. Hey, the plant is staying. This plant is so high right now.
We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Smoke weed like Bob Marley, getting high and I like to party. Mary Jane stimulates the brain, she blow the smoke, take away the pain. My dream house in my greenhouse with a flat screen and a big couch, half baked with a big bomb. Smoke it all till the weed's gone. Smell good, my weed strong, my money stack and my weed's long. Smoking Keisha, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg when I'm around the reef. It's beautiful when I roll up, it's like fine art when I burn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. Smoking loud, we gon' turn it up. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe, roll it up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe, roll it up in my weed ride. Grinding all this weed, we gon' have to break this up. Mary Jane's my main bitch, won't you come get fucked up? Oh, you don't smoke no weed, well I can't say what's up. In memory, your whack ass, when I light this up. Rolling it up when I'm blowing the weed, smelling the smoke and you know that it's me. Puffing on good and you know who it be. Smoke like a hippie, come fuck with a G. Light it up when I blaze one, light it up when I blaze one. We gon' smoke piff when that haze come. Smoke piff when that haze come. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe, roll it up in my weed ride. Put your lighters up, let's spark one. Getting high, let's blaze up. It was a long day, we lighting weed, we smoking, we don't give a fuck. Roll up, no stress, smoke weed, no protest. 420, we live, vibe, roll it up in my weed ride. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. We be smoking weed, no stems and no seeds. We about to smoke and I'll be lighting up that weed. White hot with a banger.
God damn, you'd think I'd have this down by now, but it's all good. Smoking weed, that's what happens. Storing your weed is so important. Yes, I'll use weed, I just won't use marijuana. Weed is part of our culture. Pot is part of our culture. Cannabis, of course. My wife made a good point the other day. Kids these days, even when I say kids, 20-year-olds, they don't say, hey man, you want to go smoke some cannabis? Come check out my new, I got this wicked cannabis. I got this fresh cannabis. I don't even know what the fucking kids say these days, but I'm just saying the word cannabis probably doesn't ring with them like it does for medical patients. So I found that kind of interesting. Yeah. The Dark Harvest interview as well. I'm going to play it now that I've got everything fixed up. I'm actually able to play the trailer for Dark Harvest. This movie will be coming out in June. It has James Hudson, who I interviewed at 420. I'll be playing that interview at some point as well. Now, I wanted to bring back that we played that 2015 show just to show the last 420 and the first time ever a drone was flown over 420 in BC, in Vancouver. So that was the last one held at the Art Gallery, and you can see why we needed to move to the beach, because we took over such a large portion of downtown. Now, I still don't necessarily agree with the move, because I always thought that we made the best protest because we shut down the downtown core with 80.
You lost audio, or at least audio. I don't know if it's on your phone.
No, I haven't lost no audio.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, guys. I was told I didn't have audio. Yeah, no, there was a delay because I didn't have audio for a couple seconds. I said that, 1 sec. When you see me going like this, that means I'm fixing my audio. Sorry, guys. 3 checks afterwards, we are back. Dark Harvest trailer is a tricky one. What?
I can't hear you because I was on this, sorry.
All right, Dark Harvest trailer, once again, James Hudson, A.C. Peterson, and Cheech Marin. Cheech Marin has not starred in a cannabis film or been involved in anything for like 19 years or something. I can't remember, but it's been a long time for Cheech. So we wanted to know, is it going to be the funny Cheech, or is it going to be, like the Tommy we see appearing at all these international business conferences and posing for pictures? Is it going to be Cheech that we remember, or is it a different Cheech? Now you'll see in the trailer here, it's a much darker side of cannabis and legalization, and we are on the cusp here in Canada of legalization. So the very same thing, Project Gator, Project Claudia, all this stuff we see going on in Canada, all the threats of the federal government, the posturing of police, the unnecessary focus on the cannabis culture versus the methadone and, sorry, not methadone, but the opioid crisis and the fentanyl crisis, etc. The real problems that face and plague our children in this country, certainly not cannabis. Cannabis only started plaguing our children when you decided to legalize and profit off it. That's the only time it plagued our children. Sure as hell hasn't plagued mine. But that note, there is a darker side of cannabis because it's a $7 billion industry. Doesn't matter. It's a $7 billion industry. And what I like about this movie is that it's, James Hudson is not only the producer, the director, the writer, and lead actor, but he had a vision. He's a Vancouver-based, and this was filmed, I believe, in Vancouver in our docks and down in our waterways and stuff, where very much so a lot of stuff goes on, from imported people to exported people, down in everything they're from. Anyway, it does show a bit of a darker side to the cannabis culture, but at the same time, not the cannabis culture, but the cannabis industry, with legalization on the cusp. And I'm trying to really put this out there because this show hasn't even hit theaters. It hits them in June. I can't wait to be at the opening because I get to sit down and I don't know if Cheech medicates or not, but if he does, I'm hoping to medicate with him. And we are celebrating legalization, but this shows the dangers of criminalization while we legalize. It shows the danger of the underground meeting big business, which is happening in Canada. I've talked about this for about 4 years on my show. I call it the gas war, the price war, whatever you want to call it. It's going to happen. If 95 years, and if the police in the jail cell didn't stop it, then what makes you think that these big corporations are going to stop it? By matching the price scheme in the underground? That's going to do a price war, a gas war. Like when gas companies fight, they keep dropping the price. LPs have huge overhead. The underground have none. Good luck on that fight. I'm glad I'm a spectator and a reporter on this one. But anyway, back to the Dark Harvest part. I'm going to put my mic, actually, I'm going to put my mic up a little bit closer for you guys to hear it. I'm pretty sure, I'm going to make sure my sound is up this time. And Yeah, it's up. So you guys can check out the trailer, and then maybe I'll just carry it on. I'm gonna actually try and look into the chat. I gotta actually log back into my phone and then try to get back into this chat, see if it worked. We tried a couple of fixes. Thanks for the comments in the chat too, for people suggesting how to fix it. I really appreciate it. There's different sweepers. I mean, I am a certified technician, so I should know how to fix these things better. But this particular malware, when it comes to phones, or it's specially written. It's not malware that's written to just go on hundreds of thousands of computers. It's stuff they write to actually be damaging, and they're usually very good hackers. So anyway, all said, here is the trailer for Dark Harvest. Let me make sure I can pull this up in Desktop Presenter, which I can't. All right, there, now I can. Sorry, there you go, guys. Bear with me, I'm still learning this. I'm no super producer. Anyway, here it is.
In 2 weeks, the government's going to announce that it's totally legal. So my advice to you, if I was you, I would go to some place that's sunny every day.
Away from people like you and me.
Far away.
What do you think about leaving earlier, like a week from now? This is the last crowd. We're done, that's it.
How do you say marijuana in Spanish? Prison.
Someone cut 105 plants down and killed bro. My life's in those bags. Whatever you do, don't go to the old spot.
Police!
We have a homicide, and you're the only one who was there alone. Internal investigations, I'm suspect.
What?
Suspected.
You have to go. What you're getting, you have to go.
I'm taking you in.
We'll help they find this guy. See how easy it is for you little people?
Anybody else you know have a key?
No. We're just looking for a friend of mine, Earl Freeman, black guy with a beard.
You know of anybody trying to unload some full plants?
Oh, that'd be pretty weird. I don't know if I should be calling you. Well, it smells like marijuana. Hey, you out there?
What do you mean am I there?
You just killed Frank. Where's it? Up in there! It's gonna go legal. This is the cop's last chance to settle your score. I turned down the payoff to get this guy.
Bernie, trust me. I'll find out you're lying to me. I'm gonna kill you and whoever you're working with.
This bear trap thing's coming down on you, brother.
There it is. So again, Cheech Marin, A.C. Peterson, and Mr. James Hudson, again, Vancouver-based producer, director, writer, actor. And I was so privileged to interview him at the 20 by 20 foot Beard Brothers tent at 420. It was insane. I mean, it was just busy from side to side, all the new gear, you know, my wife, my daughter, the Beard Brothers collective gear. You guys will see a lot of this. We gave a sweater away the other day. There's a lot of different stuff. Check out beardbros.ca. The website is launched. Some of those pictures are there. There's a lot more to come. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're all just trying to find our way here and get ourselves going into this year after an incredible, again, this legislation rocked the country of Canada. It rocked us. You know, it's sent people it's rocked the country, because a lot of people thought the Liberal government was going to be so nice. It didn't rock me. I've been saying this on my show for a while. The legal supply is the legal supply, and that they're going to sell out of storefronts by Christmas, and you'll be buying from them. It's going to happen. That being said, we the people in a 100,000-man army, which some people are helping me to start to build, actually. There's some people step forward. Not build myself as a leader, but myself as a voice. And many other collective voices that we can then bring together. And when the right leader rises, that leader will take the helm and lead us into the right proper place that we need to be. You know, I'll follow the right leader. You know, I'll follow that person that wants to fight for a free and democratic society in a free and democratic market. You know, we are not a doctorian country. We do not live under doctorian policy. This cannabis plant should not be criminalized and marginalized in lieu of legalization. Nor should we the people. We're the civilians of this country. Sure, our police are militarized now. Sure, there's all kinds of bad shit going on in the world. But we ain't done nothing wrong, and we're still free. And our Charter of Rights and Freedoms have demonstrated that over and over and over, 16 times in fact, ruling the MMAR, marijuana or medical marijuana access regulations, unconstitutional, 15 times. And then in Allard, we ruled the MMPR unconstitutional and destroyed it one time. That I am proud of. Now, what are we going to do next? Like I said, soil to oil, farm to flame, you know, root to fruit. We got all that. That's us. We got that. But now what are you going to do about seed to sale? See, all these guys talk this shit. They all want to talk about what they're going to do. But now there's a reality that there's a seed to sale factor. There's there's seed to sale factors that we have to look at all times. And when I say that there's factors, I just mean because it ties into access. It ties into not allowing a monopoly. And it's not that, again, I'm reporting on this. I'm the reporter. It's different for me. It's an interesting position. But seed to sale is not something that is good. But
there's a question.
Sorry, go ahead.
You always tell me to cut in if there's a question. So
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be. I know your thing is working. Jason, how hard? Sorry, it's a little weird. Jason, how hard is it to start a small tent for myself? I've never grown any, but I'm a decent gardener in my backyard anyway. My backyard. I guess she means she's a decent gardener. So anyways, let me read that again. I read a little weird. Jason, how hard is it to start a small tent for myself? I've never grown any, I presume cannabis, but I'm a decent gardener. That's a big question.
Again, this is where I suggest, one, if you're looking into tents, tents is the same as I would say the tent's same as your backyard. If you're a good gardener outdoors, then you know as a grower, you need to be Mother Nature. Now outdoors, Mother Nature takes care of itself. Indoors, you're the sun, the rain, the wind, you're everything. You're the night, you're the day, you are Mother Nature. Mm-hmm. Now, if you feel you can bring your skills from outside and Mother Nature inside, that's what you need to bring into the tent. In layman's terms. Now, in expert terms, it would take a little more consultation and dialogue to dial in any given tent, depending on the size, what you're looking to pull out of it, how you're looking to grow your plants, how many plants you're looking to grow. All these things are factors, whether you're using a high-intensity discharge lamp like a high-pressure sodium or metal halide, or whether you're using an LED. You know, it depends on what technology you're really running, and all that will come into a factor. So it's not an easy answer, but for about $3,000 investment, you know, some of these things can be bought slowly, but for about $3,000 investment, you can pull yourself, you know, a pound every 70 days, and that's a reasonable amount of cannabis for the average, you know, person. You know, okay, go sit over there, please. Put the dog out on the patio. That's enough. I apologize, guys. I just got distracted once again, but what can I do? It is what it is. I don't even know what I was fucking saying there. I apologize. You can actually stand out there too for a couple minutes. I talk to Vicky. Thanks. As you can see, I get pretty frustrated. You try to do these shows and you try to make sure you get them out there, but it can be very irritating too. It's also hard to run a show in the house. What can I say? You have a show inside your own condo. It's not always easy with people, and wow, is there ever a lag on that feed? But it's not always easy, so it becomes frustrating. And of course, running it solo today, I'm kind of gasping at different things. I get on top of it, but that medical question around the tent is a good question. I got to get back into this chat here because Vicky fed it to me and she took off. So today, I'm trying gasping at different things. Trying to follow up. It's looking like now my daughter reinstalled Facebook on here. Maybe it'll let me. Maybe it'll let me actually talk now. All right. So at least I can see the comments. Anyway, yeah, flawless, cherry dabs, whatever. That's all good. I'm going to move on to rosin dabs, and hopefully you guys are having a good Saturday afternoon. And the discussion around tents, it's a good discussion because it's directly what I'll be doing. And I know we mentioned it on earlier shows. We'll be giving away tents. I'll be working with Gorilla Tents directly, and moreover with Green Planet Nutrients and Pacific Northwest Garden Supply, my longtime sponsors. But directly through Cannabis in Canada, you'll be able to access tents and all the different configurations, and with that will come the consultation and support applicable to running a tent inside. And as a master grower, that's had to grow in my water closet to have to low stress train plants. That's where I learned that many moons ago. To the guy that gets to grow in a big facility, it doesn't make a difference. Growing is growing. You have to be Mother Nature, and you have to be able to control the environment in the room, understand genetic profiling, and most importantly, have somebody to see. This is what I didn't have when I started out. It's why I started Cannabis in Canada in 2007, was to teach people how to grow, because nobody helped me. I had to study tons of books. I had to go around BC, and luckily I have a lot of friends in the underground, so I had master growers help to teach me stuff I needed to know. And I brought that to YouTube. And now we're to the days of tents. Johnny B, my good friend, John and I go back about 25 years. We've often talked about the day that Canada comes like Colorado, whether it's 6 plants, 4 plants, whatever. It'll mean tents. And everyone that likes cannabis that ever wanted to grow a plant, so they're gonna invest in these tents, and they're gonna put them in their bedrooms because they fit perfectly beside the bed, or they're gonna put them in their living rooms because people are gonna come by and want to see their genetics. That should be a real free and fair market, and it's what we fought for. Is what could happen. There's nothing stopping us from putting 100,000 tents in Canada, 200,000 tents, 300,000. There's nothing stopping anybody except your will and Health Canada's bullshit. Your personal will to put up with Health Canada's bullshit is what it comes down to, getting a federal license to grow cannabis in this country right now under this present state of affairs. Regardless of all the laws, all the trials, all the bullshit, all the talking out the ass, that's the long and short of it. You want to protect yourself? Get a license under the ACMPR. You want to grow legally? Get a license under the ACMPR. If you not want to be bound to 30 grams a day and only 4 plants, get a license under the ACMPR. At the end of the day, get a license under the ACMPR. It will crush the federal government's attempt at 4 plants, because it will force them to look at the fact that the entire country don't want 4 plants. They want the person to be able to decide what they want to grow. Again, tactical approaches. I'm just speaking off the top of my head here, but these are tactical approaches versus legal approaches. If we had a legal approach to say, Mr. Government, you're wrong, these big corporations aren't allowed to sell weed, I should be allowed to sell weed, then we would. That's not an argument. I'm a drug dealer is not an argument.
No.
There's no defense for that. And I'm sorry people didn't like this. At the Bio Cup last year, I was put on stage with a bunch of, except one person that's a friend of mine. I'll never down him, and I'll never down my other friend's wife that was on stage with me. But the other guys that were on stage with me, quite tards, new on the scene, think that they can sell cannabis, think it's all going to be legal, spend lots of money on marketing and profiting because idiots are advising them, only to learn now you can't sell cannabis. And you're facing raids, you're facing being locked up, and no criminal lawyer in Canada has come out and said, we have a defense. That's going to overturn the policy anyway. I should say there is a defense. It's known as a community necessity defense. It means the federal government is not in a position to supply the Canadians. So traditionally, the British Columbia Capacity Club Society, the Vancouver Island Capacity Club Society, Phil Lucas, the vice president of Tilray himself, was the unindicted co-accused in that case. I know because I testified to help keep Matt out of jail. 1,000 plants being grown, just under 1,000 being grown for research for the Vancouver Island Capacity Club Society, because at that time there was no supply. So it became a constitutional challenge in RV Baron. Look it up. Because Matt got an unconditional discharge and got told to go back to doing what he was doing, but only follow the law this time. Because he was growing for medical patients and doing it for the right reason, for research and development, for the Vancouver Island Capacity Club Society that checked prescriptions, etc., etc., etc. It made a perfect case, and it overturned the Constitution in certain respects. Most importantly, it allowed Matt, who's now known as the House of the Great Gardener, to get on with his business and move on and have a pretty successful life. But his life also could have been very much so just getting out of jail right now, had it went the other way. That's the reality of what we face in the cannabis culture. So, yeah. And the other thing too is the YouTube videos, again, a lot of my YouTube videos are old because back then was when it was growing for fun. Ramo didn't have his nutrient company. I didn't have nothing going on. We were just growing and we were teaching people because it was fun to do. It was something to do. Now we're very busy and we want to, like me, I keep doing it. Ramo has his company and stuff, but I keep doing that. But the educational part is still there. The only difference is now, finally, if I could have back then done a lot of live shows from my grow room, I would have. Because then we could have taught lessons and interacted when people had direct questions instead of having to wait for a week to get back to me. in order for me to get back to you. And now, although I don't have a plant right in front of me, there's the ability for us to Skype people in, for people to show pictures of their plants, for people to ask questions, and for them to get answers from Cannabis in Canada. If we can't answer it on the actual show, we'll definitely source the answer by the next show. But it's how we work. It's a collective effort. It's why we do the live feeds. We wouldn't do the live feeds if it wasn't for this. It was the only purpose for it was to interact. So I showed the trailer there. I'm gonna actually play it one more time, just because I like it, and then I'm gonna go right into the commercial so you guys understand what's going, or not in commercial, but right into the interview with the interview with James. With James Hudson. We'll go right into the interview after the trailer plays one more time, and yeah, and then when I come back from break, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about, but I don't know. We'll just see what happens. All right, welcome back to Cannabis in Canada with Jason Wilcox.
2 weeks, the government's going to announce that it's totally legal. So my advice to
with
you,
James,
if I was
director,
you, I would
editor, producer.
go to some place
my God,
and study
that's
every day.
everything.
Away
He
from
had a
people
chance
like you
to
and
work
me.
with one of my heroes, Mr. Cheech. Man, that'd be so cool. Like I've spoken.
What do you think about leaving earlier, like a week from now?
I haven't worked with Tommy, so I don't know what it'd be like to work
That's it.
alongside Cheech, man.
Have you seen marijuana in Spanish?
And what would it be like? You're the director, you're the producer, and you're the co-actor.
Well, the bigger the star, it becomes easy because the acting is effortless. So in some ways, it's
Whatever you do, don't go to the old spot.
easier, and by being the writer and director, so I'd be in a scene with Cheech, and if things weren't working the way I'd want, I just keep the camera rolling, and I would say, let's do it again like this, or this is the idea behind what you're saying there, more than this. And just keep the camera rolling and keep doing it. So that was effortless in that way. So Cheech and I talked about the scene. He's talking to the writer. So I'm the guy that imagined this stuff. The director who's got his eye on where this is going. I'm the fellow actor. So I think it might have been a really comforting thing for a guy like Cheech. He doesn't have to go talk to me, 3 people. He can talk to the guy that he's got a relationship with and trust and likes. And we can talk about this, and it kind of makes it easy.
Well, it smells like marijuana.
And effortless.
Are you out there?
What do you mean am I there?
As far as him being Cheech, I grew up by watching Cheech and Chong movies over and over and over again. Even the last one.
This is the cop's last chance to sell
but you kind of forget it's Cheech and Chong. Because it's a serious movie, it's a crime movie.
Find out you're lying
he's
to me,
not
I'm
playing
gonna
that
kill you
character.
and whoever you're working
Now,
with.
hanging out with him on a personal basis, there's been a couple times where we're hanging out, and he'll start doing some of those old Cheech and Chong characters, and I'll be like, wow, I forget
in real life. It's either Cheech on that we see on like Cheech on the movies, or like in private, or is he more the?
He's really intelligent. He's beat Anderson Cooper on Jeopardy. He's the biggest and best Chicano art collector in the world, and has an encyclopedic knowledge of art. He's highly, highly intelligent. So, but he's cool. He's chill. He's 71 years old, or he's going to be 71 in a couple months. He's relaxed and he's cool, and he's got a lot of confidence. One of the things he told me before we started filming, when he had the script, but I had some changes. We were in his hotel room in Vancouver before we started filming, and I said, here's some changes. How do you feel about them? And he just said, I did 5 years on Nash Bridges. I can handle any dialogue at any time, and so give me what you got.
Nice. Now,
so the answer is no. He's not like the 6'4" lowrider driving guy, but he can put that on in a second.
Right. Okay. I want to get back to that. We're going to touch back because, again, Tommy, as you know, is a real weed head, and so he really does represent the cannabis culture, if you have it.
Yeah.
Now, on that note, here in Canada, the Canadian government has tabled legislation to legalize and, in my own opinion, monopolize, but basically allow large corporations to sell cannabis in the country of Canada, while maintaining a heavy hand of the law on anybody that dares, share a joint or share even genetics, so they can teach each other to grow. How do you think this movie ties into legalization, not only for Canada but around the world?
I think it will be a historical piece because it takes place while marijuana is becoming legal, and that's it's gonna be legal soon in Canada, United States. It's heading there, so it's a slice of history, and I think that it's a crime movie. There's a murder in it, and my idea with any kind of political thought that might be floating around while I was making it is what a waste that it's been illegal, and we've had police resources policing marijuana, and what a waste, because now it's legal and we wasted all that fucking time, money, and people's health,
100%. No, they have. No, I can get onto this for hours, but right now I'm concerned on just that note.
Okay.
Now, how hard was it to get someone like Cheech to work in a movie? I mean, honestly, a Vancouver, Canadian-based movie. I mean, to get Cheech to come and work for you. I mean, I honestly, the first time we met, so I have never, it's not like you're a well-known producer. So I'm thinking, how hard would it be to get Cheech to come in and do this movie and to see your vision?
It was based on the writing. So I wrote the movie. It's the most authentic weed movie you would ever see. There's a lot of growing in there. The technical, everything with marijuana is authentic and legit. And so when he got the script, he told me he liked the writing and wanted to do the movie. Whether it was the plot, the descriptions of the marijuana, and the technique of growing marijuana, so I think it's a combo. It was a challenging role for him to play. He liked my writing, and part of my writing was authenticity that he would have recognized in the first page. So he said he liked the writing, and he said, let's do the movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a bit more to it. I flew down to his house, we talked, and there's a lot of stuff behind it. But
on that point, when you flew out and talked, was that intimidating? Like, did that seem intimidating? Like, it was.
It was, because there I was so excited that I had Cheech involved in the movie, and then it was time to go meet him at his house. And it wasn't, we hadn't filmed yet. There was nothing really signed, so the deal was still loose. And I rang his doorbell at his house in LA, and he kind of came shuffling out, and I was like, oh fuck, here comes Cheech, and then he's 70, so he's not 30 whatever when he made Up and Smoke, and he carries himself like he's kind of like the Yoda of pot. Anyway, so he brought me into his house, and he has, like I said, the most amazing Chicano art collection in the world. So his house is an art gallery.
Wow.
And we hung out for a couple hours, talked about his life, my career, his career, and then after 2 hours he said, yeah, let's do this movie. I like the writing. I'll come up to Vancouver and do it. And then we spend the next 2 hours looking at art, started to kind of form the relationship. So yeah, he's been really good. He's been a mentor to me. He always gives me advice about how to navigate me being a director, writer of movies, because he made Born in East LA. He also wrote, directed, and starred. So I think he sees me as a young up-and-comer, and he's been mentoring me, and it's been beautiful.
Wow. Okay, as an actor now, you mentioned you shot this in Vancouver. As an actor, what was it like to one then be actually acting with Cheech and then doing it in your own home country?
It was cool because I'm from Vancouver. I was born here. I was born downtown. I'm a Vancouver guy. This is a very Vancouver film, and the great thing that turns out with Cheech is Vancouver is an incredibly special place for him too. He lived here. This is where he met Chong. This is where Cheech and Chong began. He has super, super fond memories of Vancouver. He said this is the best city in the world. So when he flew up here to do it, he was happy to be here. We walked around downtown. He showed me where him and him and Chong met, and old stories about Chinatown. And he felt comfortable here, and it was really cool. It was really cool.
What made you want to get into a cannabis or a marijuana movie, if you have it? What drove you to want to see that? Aside maybe legalization, that's going to be my guess. But what really drove you? Because it's a lot more to just the talk about making a movie than to actually go and put all that you have into what you believe in this. So yeah, what drove you to it?
I'm a young filmmaker. I want to make more films. I wanted to make this film as a noir crime drama, and being from Vancouver, where marijuana has been so huge of an industry, it's hard not to know somebody that grew pot or sold pot or smoke pot, and so there was enough people around. There was access to the authentic nature of the world of marijuana. And Vancouver being my city, I was able to just bring it all together and say I'm making my debut noir movie is going to be in Vancouver in a marijuana world.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. Okay, now what can we expect? Now, first off, this is Dark Harvest, the movie. It's called Dark Harvest. First of all, now you don't tell me. I know you can't give anything away, but the movie Dark Harvest. First, when is it released?
It's going to come out in May or June 2017 this year.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's again that day? One more time.
Sometime in June 2017.
There you go.
We're working on it really close.
Cheech Marin, and yes. Now Dark Harvest. Just maybe give us your own paraphrase or whatever, or parable as to why they call it Dark Harvest based on now you.
Okay.
Why did you call it Dark Harvest?
So this is.
I should say. Why did you?
Why I called it Dark Harvest? This is the most authentic weed movie ever made. It's completely legit, and it's I don't want to give too much away, but it's a noir movie. I like the juxtaposition of dark, and when you grow marijuana, it's all about light, and a harvest needs light, so I like the juxtaposition of that. So I wanted to make a noir crime movie in the marijuana world. And it's coming soon, and it's Cheech's first marijuana movie in 30 years. And it's not a comedy. He plays a godfather of marijuana, and it's a very serious noir thriller.
What's coming next for you movie-wise? What are you thinking in your head?
I've got 3 other movie ideas I'm developing, and Cheech and I like each other, and we like working with each other, so definitely he's very high on the list for a next movie. It'll either, and how this movie succeeds through the marijuana world, what marijuana does for the release of this movie, because I've got other marijuana ideas, and if it proves to be this new audience that wants more of those movies, not the same movie, but I can make another movie that has marijuana in it. It might be a different genre, maybe with Cheech, and maybe that's my calling. But I have other movie ideas too, so I'm just trying to navigate the sale of this movie, and that will affect which of those ideas I'm most inspired to do.
Right on. James Hudson, everybody. Thank you, James, for coming on the show.
Thanks, man.
Guys, Google Dark Harvest. Get ready for it sometime in June. Again, we don't know the exact release date. The trailer's out. Check it out. I'm hoping I'll be able to air it on my show. James, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot.
Stay tuned for more from Cannabis in Canada.
DarkHarvestMovie.com. Thanks a lot.
Okay. I'm back, and I'm frustrated a lot, but I'm back here. There's the audio back. 101 transitions. It is not easy. I'm going to try to get ready somewhat of a hash joint in between everything else. Try to get back into my phone, as I seem to have to do every time. So I don't know what you guys are smoking on. It's Saturday. We only have a few people viewing, but that was Mr. James Hudson. Please remember to share and like. Get this out around to a few people. And wow, that smells good. Yeah, it's a whole different thing. That LA chocolate, that's a whole different ballpark of. Thank you, Daniel. No, that interview again. People that are out doing the stuff that we do, you can do interviews with cannabis users, but when you sit down with the professionals, and I've had the pleasure of doing some good speaks and interviewing some high-profile people over the years, but that was kind of a throw-in because it was at the Beard Brothers 10. It was just at 4/20/2017, and I didn't even really know who I was sitting down with at the time. I was just kind of sat down, friends of mine plugged me in, and all of a sudden I realized, and then when I watched the trailer later, I'd already done the interview, and I watched the trailer later, I was like, oh man, I should have asked so many more questions. But that's just the truth of it. That's the way things go in this business, and you don't always know, and it's probably good for me to pay better attention. But yeah, I'm gonna try and dig a little bit into this because I got the two ounces of hash here, and I'm gonna make sure I keep the one. I like the one brick for showing people, but I definitely wanted to do a little bit of hash today. So bringing hash back is definitely important. I can't express that enough. So But again, when we say bring hash back in, I think there's a difference between the hash that people are thinking about and the hash that we're talking about. Because like this isn't your locally made hash. You can't really see this. I'd have to get Vicky to bring that up there again. But to fully understand it, you know, you have to see this isn't your domestic hash that you make out of your trim at home. This is what, in this case, in India, you know, they're making this stuff. And hot knife happiness, it may be. I'm just considering which knives to use, as you mentioned that we talked about that earlier. But yeah, but this is bringing hash back. But this is your old school imported gold stamp, and we're very happy to have that. And yeah, to be dabbing on that, or to be, again, you can even dab hash. That's what's interesting. A lot of people don't know that, but you can dab hash.
I can't find a piece of our sublimator, but if, you know what, if I could bust out the sublimator, it's perfect for smoking hash.
No, there wasn't only black back then. There was red Lebanese. I mean, at least me, I'm from Ontario, Canada. So in Ontario, Canada, you could get the red Lebanese, you could get gold stamp. And if I cut this brick open right now, it's only oxidized on the outside from the air changes the color, but it's very much so a nice blonde inside like it should be. And I'm not going to cut it for that purpose right now, but those out there that understand their hash know that. Domestic hash is the same thing, but this stuff is the same as when we were younger. And I remember the black tar hash. You're right, it's out there. Believe me, I do remember it, but this was our connoisseur hash as a kid. And because of some of my friends' dads were bikers and stuff in Satan's Choice back in Ontario, of course, we had access to a lot of different sorts of cannabis and muling even as a young kid, just running cannabis across Ontario, so as far in the forms of hash. So we remember this very much, but these come in big bricks, and that's about how thick the brick is, and then you just start cutting ounces off from there, or whatever it might be, quarter pounds, depends on what people want to buy. And actually come by the kilo, they don't come by the pound. So you got to change up your math and everything. It's a little bit frustrating. In BC, it was Gold Seal or Red Lab. Yeah, see, the Red Lab is what I'm loving right now. But you guys would be surprised to know that all of them come in through the Montreal port, more so than the BC port. But yeah, in Ontario, it was very much so the gold stamp. There was the Moroccan gold, and there was also the Arabic Sunset, which was still around. It's the greasiest of all of them. If you ever had the Arabic Sunset, you rub it in your fingers, and it's like, I can't get this off, and it's not stickier now. Then it's just super, super greasy. But hey, Bonnie. Afternoon. But yeah, and Bonnie, please give me a call on my cell phone, or get your husband to call me, because let him know that I need to speak to him regarding some of these topics we're talking about right now, such as this gold stamp hash. I'd love to sesh with him and get his opinion on this gold stamp, because this is stuff that matters to me as a connoisseur. I care about what goes out there. It's like this cannabis. I wish we had the smell-o-vision. I wish we had the ability to email you, because I would right now, I swear, regardless of what the charge might be. I would email you this so you could play in on and try the hash with the cannabis and see what I know what a relaxing feeling I'm going to be. I went and bought a $60 ass chair. Again, you guys, any sponsors out there want to sponsor the show and really help build this set for us, help get us a couple of really nice chairs for our butts, because my wife, she can't even sit in the chair to be on the show, and me, I sit in here and then I'm sore as hell afterwards. So little investments we need to do. So I like to plug that out there, because all of a sudden we never know, we might get an email from somebody that says, hey, I got a furniture place and we have some extra desks or whatever, some extra things. It'll all help. But the Afghani as well, in Toronto in the 80s, you're right, the Afghani, and that's still here. The Afghani, the gold stamp, the red Lebanese, geez, we can go through all of that. These are all still available. They're coming in through the Natural Remedy at this time, and various other places, and certainly I can get you access to the various hashes, because again, the wife and I say, let's bring hash back. It's bringing imported hash back, because domestically we make hash all the time. Like I said, my friend Johnny B likes to do a lot of the picking apart the trichomes and making the new age hash. And I still think that the old age hash just really, the different hashes do different hashes do different things. It's just a reality, and you get different responses. So yeah. I'm going to actually do this old school. You guys remember this probably more than I do. Now, even though my friends who helped me to get this, they suggested that I don't need to do the old flame to the flame to the hash, because it's really moist, like it's really oily, and it's right off the brick. This hasn't been stomped on, it hasn't been added to. You remember in the 80s, guys used to put shoe polish in this shit and actually try to resell it to you. That's probably why it was black. But anyway, guys used to actually try to stomp this stuff with shoe polish. This is pure. This is what it comes through the ports. This is how it leaves. This is how it leaves overseas, and it comes to us. See, this stuff's so oily that even that little bit of heating, I can just break it apart like this into here. Like again, you should be able to squish hash literally in your fingers. You should be able to move it around, and whether it's imported or not, it doesn't need to be hard as a brick. It shouldn't be. You know, it should be stored properly and cured properly, and that's just good hash. And you mix a little bit of hash, like a good quarter gram, half gram of hash into one little joint, and you're set for a couple hours, pain free. It's just amazing benefits to hash. And again, if you just choose to want to eat it, you can take a piece, cut that off, and just eat that, just like you would take your RSO, and you would get the same thing. You got to think all you're taking is compressed cannabinoids. Good afternoon, Mo. How it goes, brother?
John's saying arcade days. Talk about throwback. Remember, I was in
Arcade days, yes.
Arcade days, man. I spent my life in the pool hall. Right?
Totally. Mo, I'm Linda. I hope you guys are having a great afternoon. The Cereal Baker. I hope to bring the Cereal Baker to Cannabis in Canada. We have Justin Loizos on Cannabis in Canada back east now, and we have another new reporter with us. But I really would like to get the Cereal Baker Skyping in, maybe doing her own show once in a while, maybe one show a month or something, and teaching you all some of the amazing things, because there's very few people in this country that do edibles that I stand by, and she's one of the few people. She's probably the only person that has come close to greening me out. Now, they would argue they have greened me out, and I would argue no, but they came very, very close. And I have to be careful, because Linda's very slick. You cannot taste the cannabis in her edibles, so she'll just keep slipping them to you, and they taste so goddamn good. You're not unsuspecting. She'll sneak around, hey, and so slip you another one. All of a sudden, then you're corked, and that's how they green you out. So be careful of that Cereal Baker. That Cereal Baker don't play. But you know, for us hardcore connoisseurs, it's all good. We can hold our own. You know, I actually, to be fair, I did green out her husband at their first event at Chilling at the Ground, and so much so that he actually couldn't come downstairs. Yeah, Maurice at the first event. I'm actually going to pull up the video for Chilling on the Grand, which was a fundraiser for the coalition. But it was the first event done on. There it is. It was the first event done on Six Nations Reserve in Ontario, a dry reserve, and it was the first event that was done where there was at least the first cannabis event that I'm aware of, and it was facilitated and hosted by Mo and Linda in Paradise Gardens, and it was one of the happiest times I ever had. And we went from upstairs in the VIP. My friend Derek Pedro, and seen him on the Stock Exchange. Congratulations, Derek. I seen my friend Derek Pedro came by, and he hooked me up with a few chunks of wax, and we took those couple of cookies of wax and decided, instead of just keeping them for myself because they were a present, I re-gifted them to the party. So we went downstairs and we started dabbing people out at the sublimator station. What I love the most is that about 80% of the people we dabbed had never done a dab. So we had to be careful of guys greening out. And there was this one guy, I can't remember his name, but this one guy, you'll see him in the video. We had this time relay in the video. This one guy kept coming back every time, more and more and more. I thought for sure this guy was going to go down. I thought he was going to green out because we had already greened a few people out. And remember, this is when dabbing was first coming around and getting itself going. But anyway, let's take a look at that video while we got Mo and Linda online. It'll give me a chance to finish with my roach joint here. And Bonnie, definitely, I'm going to get my wife to PM you my cell number. Give me a call so we can figure out how you want to do this giveaway and how to best do it, especially in lieu of these trolls that are trying to stop us from doing giveaways on our show. All that being said, I'm going to fire this over now, and we'll see you guys after Chilling on the Grand. It's an 18-minute video, so if you need to get up like I am, get a coffee, roll your joints, do whatever. I'm going to break out some more hash. I'm going to break out my half-pound of weed, and I'm going to start to roll up some bigger blunts, because we might just keep this going. I got to see if I shouldn't say blunts because I don't put tobacco in there, but I'm going to roll up some more cannabis, and we're going to keep this going. It's Saturday afternoon. We're sessioning. Most importantly, guys, put in the chat. Remember to like, share. Please like and share. Share this around, because there's people out there that need the information. We don't do this because it's something fun just to sit around and smoke weed. We do this because we need to share this education so that Canada can have a true, free, and democratic market with respect to cannabis in the country of Canada. We'll see you after break.
Tonight we're having a great time doing dabs with some awesome people that are medical patients here in Ontario.
One thing that we do, Chad and I especially, and we do this because it's passive resistance to the government, is doing just that. Is what they would consider trafficking, is sharing with people. It melted in my hands. That's how touchy it is. And so, you know, when you do stuff like this, it's a form of passive resistance for patients who, again, are caught in the crossfire of prohibition. So we do this as we go out, and you'll see many other activists doing that as, again, a form of passive civil disobedience. You know, is to share and medicate together as we raise funds to actually continue our fight. Not only do we restrain the government, but we're putting them on trial. You know, and we're very proud to say that, and we will finish the fight. And with good people like this, it ain't going to be that hard and that long. You know, trial comes February, so I look forward to bringing this up on stage to answer any questions that the crowd has. So, yeah.
It's like a big family, this MMAR coalition. It's really bringing people together, isn't it? You know?
Nationally, we've worked hard on bringing a national collective, and you can see it from coast to coast. And I'm so proud of the people here. I see all the coalition shirts, and it's just all the work was worth it because people wear them with pride, and they understand, hey, we restrained the federal government of Canada.
That's right, buddy.
And there's a lot of pride in that. That's historic in itself, and I believe we'll win the constitutional challenge, and that's what this is about.
And also, what do we empower the people to do next? That's what's exciting for me.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. Are you going to come on stage tonight and give a shout out about the Growers Association?
Yeah, I mean, I might just. See how the night goes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something we should do. Honestly, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I think that after I'm done, that I can call you up and maybe you can give us a fill-in on that. And you know, I don't know if we have shirts, but that's okay. It gives you a prelim to before we go to Saskatchewan, where we will be giving out a lot of shirts. You know, we want to make sure that you know, at least you spread your message. Our friend who hooked us up with this honeycomb shatter is destroying people, and they're not coughing. And our host is just knocked out. I can see him sitting back there. What'd you lose?
I lost a dab, man.
How could you? Man down. Man down. CNC emergency. Got to go to break. It's okay. I'll give her. That's a good justification. When was CBD and CBN first isolated in pharmacology and pharmacopoeia?
Which century? How about that?
Hey, stop tipping them off.
90.
Get out of the room.
Where's that?
It's for a t-shirt. Come on, who can answer the question?
Okay, when was THC isolated?
1974.
Close.
1976?
I know it was in Israel.
Closer. Who said 60s?
I said 64.
Getting close.
Michigan,
64,
Israel.
you got it. 64's got it here.
64?
64.
in Israel.
Who's 64? Here you go.
you.
Yeah!
I don't think much an introduction is really necessary, but this is Jason Wilcox and Chad Jacket for Cannabis in Canada, and this is our leader for the MMAR coalition. So big round of applause from British Columbia, Jason Wilcox and Chad Jacket. Thanks for coming out, guys, and thanks for everything you guys do for us. So, yeah.
Well, what an introduction. Thanks everybody. It's been a pleasure. Chad and I have been meeting a lot of people and having fun medicating with people. Anybody who wants free dabs can join us at the Sublimator station there. We appreciate all the VIPs. We appreciate being here. Chad, just a fill-in before I get into my rant, because I know everybody wants to hear about the cross-appeal and that, and I'm definitely going to get into it, but let's talk a bit about the crowd. This is a great party. This is some really good people.
Absolutely, and thank you for having us, everybody. I gotta say, Ontario has come a long way since the last time I was here as far as cannabis goes. So, if you guys are doing something right, keep it up. Make sure you don't give up on your fight for cannabis freedom.
Now, for those that may not know about the Coalition Against Repeal or its roots, it was founded in 2012. You may see some of the reps that have some of the original 33 shirts that say 2012 to 2016. Although Mr. Conroy didn't act right away, he certainly wrote a letter in February of 2013 to Health Canada on the Coalition's behalf, warning them that we plan to restrain them and put them on trial because they cited fire, mold, and organized crime. My problem was I looked around and my friends couldn't find nothing. When I spoke to John Conroy, he found it interesting, but he also needed $10,000. So yeah, knowing that in 2012 we hit up people like Hydroponic Industry. A lot of these people are who brought us over the top in the beginning. And now since then we've had improvised concerts, draws online, pins, shirts, different ways of raising funds, medtainers. We can really thank that to a grassroots movement. We've always remained an ad hoc group, and we've raised $150,000 prior to our trip to Ontario here. So for that, being grassroots and ad hoc, I give everybody a round of applause and thank you. Now the constitutionality, so everybody understands what we've done, is the federal government cited that 36,000 of 40,000 medical patients collected mold, started fires, and were organized crime figures. And that was all that they cited. We took exception to that. $70,000 later, we restrained the federal government of Canada. When you hear an injunction, it's a fancy word for a restraining order. And trust me, it is not easy to restrain the federal government. And that took a lot, again, of grassroots movement and collective effort from east to west. And for people to truly understand this is a collective and for the future of our country. On that note, there's also a new case that I'm sure you've heard about, the Supreme Court of Canada case being Owen Smith. And now I've known Owen, and R versus Smith is headed to the Supreme Court of Canada. This matters to everybody who enjoys the sublimator and enjoys these extractions, because that's the case that's going to make it or break it. We won't get there first in that regard, we'll get there around our gardens, which is what we set out originally to protect. So we also have in November a cross appeal. Now what that means is that we feel the judge erred in not allowing people to change their address. And I know that's affected many people who I've met and talked to in this region, in the GTA area in general. Not being able to change your address mattered. So I personally filed an affidavit and took in 174 statements through the Coalition Against Repeal. And Mr. Conroy has submitted those as evidence and will be released on his website, if not already, sometime in a week. What's important about that is that that will allow us, if these appeal courts agree, to then change our address and hopefully preserve what the judge shouldn't have done, in our own opinion, was the judge shouldn't have tried to regulate, and that's what led to that 150 gram public restriction. So there's just a lot of bureaucracy. Again, we know the government is full of shit and they like to mess people over. Whether I took exception to it is that I'm a patriot. At the same time, I'm a medical activist first and foremost, and I'm also a marijuana activist. And they tried to take both out simultaneously, citing fire, mold, and organized crime. But once again, Mr. Conroy has proven that to be false. And unless they pull a paper out of their ass, we will destroy them in trial next year in February. And really, that's what this is about. Being at 150,000 means that we don't got much work left to do. We don't need to fight over who does what. We need to just remember Goliath is in place, and they're there to try and take out certain aspects of the culture that's evolved as a result of their lies, 70 years of their prohibition. You know, and this is where there needs to be some common sense in policy in Canada from the federal level down.
And I think the attacks on medical patients need to stop, because it seems like to me that at the end of the day, it's the medical patients that nobody's talking about. Their stock portfolios, how big their companies are. I've talked to some of these LPs. I've filmed them. Then I've also met some that actually care about the patient, and they're trying to truly grow different strains that we know work for patients. And there's some of our previous growers from our own culture. And this was, to me, eye-opening. So I think that where it ultimately ends is the MMPR needs to go. I think that we need to find a way to make that happen. In the meantime, the constitutional right to liberty and freedom and reasonable limits on that freedom need to be upheld. And in this case, they're challenging what reasonable limits are. They think reasonable limits are licensed producers and sole proprietor, meaning you can only buy from them, and that's it. And that's kind of where our fight comes in the gardens. So that's where we're at, and I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any. And Chad, if you have any more you want to fill in on, because I know we're here to have a good time, so I'd rather people just come on over and medicate with us, and talk with us. We're here to answer any questions you might have. And certainly forward-looking towards legalization and what that might mean, because legalization without a model, we don't want to end up like Washington State. We want to know that you can grow in this country if we're going to be quote-unquote legal. And the federal government of Canada needs to recognize cannabis or marijuana as being medical before they stop trying to govern it as such and making doctors be the gatekeeper to a drug that's not in their books. I know I'm talking a little bit about complex stuff, but this is what's going on at the top. And as you know, these guys, they bully us, and they've been bullying people for years. And I know Chad has a little bit to say about that part, so let it rip.
You know, one thing this MMAR coalition has done is taught people how to come together and how to fight against the government and against this corporate oppression that we see all around us. And you know, after this fight is done on this front, for your right to be able to obtain this and grow it, you know, there's going to be more that's going to come up, and I really just want everybody to be ready. You know, if you want real freedom on this planet, we can't give up. It's you know, we got to keep going with this. We got to fight for your right to your constitutional right to have this plant, and then after that, they're going to try to keep putting more and more boundaries in your way, and you just got to keep knocking those down. And I'm not going to give up, and I hope none of you are. So there's a lot more we can do after this. So you know.
Well, just with the response from the crowd, it goes to tell you that realistically, this should be a herb that we should all be able to share collectively and as we wish. Because I've never been at a cannabis event where a fight's broken out, and I've only seen people have minor disputes, which usually are verbal debates, and that's kind of the extent of it. And this is why it's frustrating me that the federal government of Canada, who says there's no medical value to marijuana, wishes to govern it with the, you know, marijuana for medical purposes regulations and try and constitutionally affect my reasonable access and the access of 40,000 licensed medical Canadians and the 500,000 that they say exists. Well, we learned under discovery, there's only 21 LPs. Only so many can actually serve medical patients. They're not in a position to serve us right now. They're not going to win this appeal. We're going to actually it's more probable that we're going to win the cross appeal aspect. These are big issues that are going to affect people, and it's again what Chad's talking about, that collective nature. That's what the coalition was built on. You might see me wearing Cannabis in Canada shirts or say, who's Cannabis in Canada? We were around in 2009 doing educational videos, teaching people how to grow, because the government didn't teach you. You know, nobody was helping one another. And now finally we're seeing that big brother's coming and their corporate friends to take not only our gardens, but our dispensaries, our culture, and they're doing it piece by piece, starting with the medical patients before they legalize under tax and regulate. I suggest anybody, before you choose to look at a platform of legalization, to ask if growing is included. Because my understanding in this crowd is everybody likes to grow, is that correct? So let's just keep doing this from coast to coast. And the people that see this on social media, we show them that yes, this can be done from east to west, small town to large city. It don't matter, because everybody has a collective nature. And when this fight's done, the next one comes out, because we want a Colorado-like model, and we will fight. and we will unite, and it's going to just continue. Whether that's going to cost us another $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, you know, we're starting to make some good allies because they're screwing over 1,000 licensed producers while they have grant their 21 special ones. And when you do some loop back and some homework, Shoppers Drug Mart and other big companies are involved. And this is the kind of stuff I'm saying is not right. It's so proprietary, and they're trying to just simply take us out. And for those that want to get involved, I suggest you go to cannabiscanada.ca, sign up, get involved, and follow what we're doing, because this fight is won. When all this collectively comes together, we should be able to fund and pay and make this a constitutional right in Canada for reasonable access to be in our gardens. And in the meantime, we'll continue to fight to explain that they have not explored the full endocannabinoid system. They have not explored how this plant works. And as long as they say it's not medical, they need to get the fuck out of our business and stay away from the doctors, because they make the doctors a gatekeeper to a drug that doesn't exist.
And again, I'd like to say, it's not medical necessarily, it's medicinal, you know, because the stuff that they call medical isn't necessarily good for anybody. So, and this plant is.
Well, that's just it. They're with any sort of control and with by their own admission, they have not explored this. And I believe that anybody here who's used cannabis knows that it helps for a variety of things. And the National Institute of Health has said that on April 3rd. You know, you can Google this. Look at what they said. They talk about cannabis sativa. They're one step from putting it back into pharmacopoeia. And what that means is it gives these corporate entities the ability to then solicit for coverage in the provinces, and that eventually crushes everything that we built. And I'm not down with that. I'm first and foremost a medical activist, like I said, so I fought for the patients. We're gonna win. That's done. Once again, so you know, this is big stuff. It's not every day that the government gets sued for 40 million plus. We're happy to say we did that. And the next time they step up, Cannabis in Canada is going to be ready to knock them back down, one step at a time. And we take them from the inside out and fight the battles that we can fight, and we got to do it together. And the Coalition Against Repeal is a prime example of a model that collective action, if we did this on a national scale in the whole cannabis culture, we could truly take on the MMPR and topple it and look at a real reasonable program that's free and fair for this market in Canada and for we the people.
Alright, microphone back. Microphone's back. You never know what to expect. Man, I've been smoking a fucking good hash. I'm back there, I made it so thick with hash that I can't friggin' smoke it all. It keeps friggin'. Oh man, we gotta break out the hot mess. Definitely. But decided to break into one of these bricks, into this. We're gonna cut it open and we're gonna do some different things. We're gonna do some squishing. We're gonna do, we pulled out a bag of smalls. I wanted to show you guys how this has a Belvedere pack in there. Like I said, the sea vault, you store your sea vault stuff however you want. Like even me, there's a cure even to the hash, so I keep the hash in there, but you keep all your good weed in here. Alright? Now, storing in glass is ultimately the best, but to keep that perfect 62% humidity until it gets to its person and or myself for smoking, then I keep it at its exact humidity. Now, if you only got a bag and you don't got a sea vault, then you put into the bag, somewhere in the center here, wrapped in tin foil, like I suggested, guys. You don't want the velvet, these Bovita packs. You see these are bone hard. Listen to my mic. See? That means they're done. They've been, all the moisture's been sucked out into these smalls to bring back the cure into the smalls for pressing. Anyway, wrapping it in the tin foil is the most important part. Like I showed you guys in the sea vault, right? In the sea vault, it's the same concept. Is the weeds at the bottom, and your cannabis is at the bottom, right? But right here is where your Belvedere pack, or your Bovita pack is. Sorry, I never say this right. I used to call them Belvedere packs. But even this one wants to be finicky with them. You'll see here, you can pull them out, and they keep it at 62% humidity. So that goes up into there. But my point is, when you use the tin foil, again, you don't have to have a sea vault, and you just want to make sure there's something with holes, and it keeps it separated from the cannabis. The cannabis isn't touching directly on the moisture, or you will get bud rot. and it'll be a very defeatist experiment to do that. But as you see, I'm very comfortably stuck 4 of these wrapped in tin foil in a half-pound bag of smalls, and recovered my smalls to the point that they're amazingly smelling. It's actually see-through, just amazing. You can't mash this on, but I thought this would go better with the hash. And then we're gonna cut this open once I get the cans set up so you guys can see up close. And we're gonna do some squishing. We'll do some bud squishing, we'll do some hash squishing, and who knows what else we'll do. So share around, like, share, and Meta Lounge. Yes, you know what? Some people were talking about why don't we, after the opening of the show. Now I'm thinking, now Bonnie knows when we go back a long time. Bonnie, I'm thinking maybe we should do a show opening of. Sorry, I'm enjoying this hash so much. But when Dark Harvest opens up and it is in theaters, that we have that night that it's open, and we go and we allow ourselves to not only see the opening as a group, but have a nice big session, and then maybe go back to Karuna's, one of the lounges, and hang out and have a good time just sessioning together. And I think that's one of the ways forward. I think there's a few more big concerts coming up. Whoa! Put her outside. My God. Out with the dog. Out on the patio, please. I'll switch the cameras.
All the cameras on squish.
I can switch it. Doesn't matter.
Ouch.
I told you not to bring her back in. That's exactly why. Anyway, we're back onto a camera that's looking at the wall. So I apologize, everybody. 1 second here. Anyway, it is what it is. Nothing you can do. That's improv and inaccuracy. But when it comes to stuff, my dog's friendly. Yes, it's just she's a pain in the ass. She just runs around, doesn't listen, and unfortunately, I do have to find her a new home. But she does run around and knock stuff over. And 1 second, we're gonna put it on a different screen here. Look at it on there. But yeah, it's tough. But yeah, no, I know we've done events before with Karuna, and I'm just thinking, man, if we're gonna do any, because people in the chat were talking about let's do a session. Well, for those of you living in the Lower Mainland area that want to get out and do a session, we can all get together and I say attend the movie. I did this. We did the. I remember when the Trailer Park Boys came out. We all went and we were blazing in the theater, and there were so many of us that they actually didn't do nothing. You done? Is it good? Looks good. No, it's just because when it keeps moving, it's very. It looks better. Sorry, but yeah, when we did the Cheech and Chong video, my freaking computer's going nuts. But when we did the Trailer Park video, the same thing. It was the night before 420, so we all went and attended this, even though it was late. It was like a really late night showing, because it was coming out the day of 420. It was either a year ago or 2 years ago, whatever. But anyway, we ended up going to that and did the same thing, only we didn't go anywhere afterwards. So I'm thinking, what better way to hang out with the Meta Lounge and to for you guys to really see what a 5-star dispensary and lounge is like, and get to know the Karuna family. I think that'd be a good way to do that. There's a few places in Vancouver still have to go around and see, and do all the different changes. So I think that would be a very productive thing that we can do, and we can look into doing more. I think I'm going to start doing a few shows probably from the lounges as well, now that our studio is up and going. Once we get things fully, as you can see, I've got multiple screens around me, so to take the studio and go mobile, it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of work. We're almost to that point, but yeah, we took everything. We were mobile at 420 with everything. We were capable of full broadcasting. It's just our location didn't suit the effort to set everything up, but it's quite amazing what technology can do, and when you really want to make something happen. So anyhow, I do have a second microphone on here. I'm hoping it's not. Let me just check my mics here. I'm hoping it's not interfering. Vicky will mic up. We do have I noticed the comments as well in the chat. Guys, please share and like. I know we say this, and a lot of people just like yeah, but it really does help. It also helps to get the voice out. We want more people to know. We do have a suppository. This was gifted to us with the coalition, and I think it was gifted to Vicky herself. And this suppository maker, she'll know the name. When she gets her mic on, she'll know more information. But this is for making your suppositories at home. It was handcrafted. I think the gentleman's name is Mike. I just can't remember his last name. I don't want to be wrong. But you can make these here. Of course, we've tried these. Again, cannabis is cannabis. Vicky uses cannabis holistically, so do I, in all of its forms. And this is something that, again, people don't realize that you don't get the same psychoactive effects. So people fighting cancer, you know, they best to use suppositories because you can put a couple grams of oil rectally, and you're not going to get as high as you would if you were to eat them. You would be incapacitated on the couch. You wouldn't be able to treat yourself. So suppositories very much so matter in treatment. And it's also a very good delivery mechanism because of the way that your body absorbs cannabinoids. So it's actually the best delivery mechanism. And then of course when it comes to making these, I'm waiting until Vicky gets down here because there's a certain way to make them with beeswax and coconut oil, and you have to have the right formations and everything else to make it work. But again, people swear by them, and I know that the elderly certainly swear by them. And it helps them. That's what matters to me. And in hearing about CBD patches, I mean, I've seen what CBD's done for my wife. It's been phenomenal. So CBD patches and all that kind of stuff I see coming out. I see her now. The only access we have to CBD is through the Natural Remedy. Other than the people out there, we tried it in California. To be honest, we tried 5 different CBD companies because it really helps my wife so much with her ailment. Like I said, with me, I need cannabis for an appetite stimulant. I need it for sleep. And I need it to counter nausea. And that's all the things CBD doesn't do. But for my wife, it really does help her. CBD does help me, but I'm just saying not in those areas, which is why I use the full cannabinoid spectrum. But my wife has used isolate CBD, and it has helped her so much that it's gotten her off a walker. And there's a lot to be said about that. There's a miraculous factor. And she can't wait now to try the patches, no different. If there's something there that we can get a delivery mechanism, you know, to alleviate the pain. It's like some of the properly made topicals. There's people out there making fake ass topicals with floor shakings and trim just because it was officially cannabis to start with. Doesn't make it a topical medical cream. But then there's people really taking their smalls or taking their bud and properly running it to give you the best possible topical. And those topicals are helping people with arthritis and all kinds of things. So why would CBD be no different? If you could get it properly made, put it onto your arm or wherever your pain is, it should deliver CBD to that general area. I'm not sure how the science is. I'm not a doctor on how cannabinoids are absorbed topically, but I do know it's very much the same. It definitely works that way. But you have to have the right creams, you have to understand what you're doing, and most importantly, if you're ever going to do anything with cannabis, use coconut oil. If you have liver issues and stuff and you can't, then it's different. But if you can use coconut oil, use it, or grapeseed oil. Because grapeseed oil has its best extractor. I would say use coconut oil because it's 3 times the bioavailability, which means if you buy 1 ounce of weed and you make an extract like butter or something, then you're getting 1 ounce of weed if you just make it with homemade cooking butter. That's all you're getting. Now you take that same 1 ounce of weed and make it with coconut oil, you now got 3 times the potency, 2 to 3 times approximately the potency, because the coconut oil, by virtue of the way you eat it, the delivery mechanism makes it 3 times the bioavailability. So if you want to get to maximize your cannabis, you use coconut oil in the context of a delivery mechanism. So I'm not sure where this wife is. I'm waiting for her to come down because we're thinking about the squish can. I gather my energy up and then I put it right back down. Okay, I got your message, Bonnie. Thank you. So at least I know I have an idea how to proceed. And so, guys, we got a few things to give away. We will do the suppository giveaway. There's your mic there. You don't have to be on camera, but if you can at least explain. I couldn't explain the wax and all that other stuff.
Yep, you're right there.
Oh man, I'm extremely beat. Sorry for the background chatter, guys. The microphones will pick that up, but it is what it is. Actually, these mics are really good in the context that we've used them in. You've seen the interview that we just did there with James Hudson. That was an interview done down at the beach. So it goes to show actually the mics really do good for grounding up. Why did you do that?
I didn't need to.
Other than when they're dropped like that, they don't make any noise.
That was my headphones.
Yes, but the microphone's right there. Please put it on. The microphone's on.
I'd like to try and get a chair if possible.
Are you gonna come in?
Just for a minute, yeah, just to do the suppository thing.
Do you want to help here, Gwendolyn? One sec, guys. We're just trying to. We have to rearrange this somehow so Vicky can climb in here and I don't know.
Growing Exposed is a complete program on the cultivation of marijuana, and I mean serious cultivation.
And just the passion behind the people involved with the plant and what's happening.
Growing Exposed is probably the first show of its kind.
The show that will not only take you inside the industry of marijuana growing, but will also introduce you to some of the characters responsible for the most incredible gardens you'll ever see.
They've been growing for thousands of years under the sun. And all we're trying to do is replicate the sun indoors.
On the one that I got to host, we bring you plants, trees that bring 3.5 pounds per tree. Look at these buds. I mean, I'm gonna actually climb up on the ladder. Look at the bud, my head.
They'll actually curl down the sides and it'll almost like come down over top of you. It ends up being just a jungle, a two-story jungle.
Growing Exposed is definitely the most exciting show of its kind, and everybody should take the time to check it out.
Check it out, it's insane.
For all the latest episodes, visit us on our website at growingexposed.com.
Growing Exposed.
Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox, the real cannabis in Canada. We're celebrating a win in our Welcome back to another edition of Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox. As always, on the educational trail here in Canada, we're here to talk about phenotypes, Girl Scout cookies. Just like Kush and all the other stuff, you know, you get a name and everybody, all the growers run and want to get it. Well, here's another example. We got Girl Scout cookies. Same seed set, two different phenotypes. Now, a lot of people don't understand, well, what does he mean phenotypes? As I asked my cameraman to kind of zoom in here, you can see the dark green. I mean, there is a dark green here. This is a finished, properly flushed plant. And that, everybody's going to say it's green crack. Now, it might be. It may be that it's a hybrid of green crack and Girl Scout. I don't know. But the phenotype is definitely like a green crack. And the tight internode spacing. You see this bud, this tight internode spacing? Now, when we switch over from here, and we actually check out this plant here, not only do you see the difference in the color spectrum, in the hues, but you actually see the internode spacing differential. I mean, it's just astronomical. And this is this is considered a phenotype, your internode spacing. Now, some people might say that's light, that's stretching from the light. These plants, in my understanding, is where they were growing the exact same height. So again, you've got a height differential. Now, how it smokes, of course, we don't know. But the fact it came from the same seed set tells me one thing. It is not stable genetics. We need to find out how to backcross it, so when you put down your seeds, they should all come up just like when you do a clone, relatively looking like sisters, like twins. That should be what you're getting. And however, any F1 hybrid seeds, you put 10 down, you can expect to get something like this. And it's not unusual. It's a matter of figuring out how to stabilize it if it's a strain you really want. So if this is that Girl Scouts cookie, one, it's unstable, so we have to figure out why. And two, we want to figure out exactly what's causing the green. Because if it is green crack and it was bred into there, it's just going to be another interesting pheno to work with. The purpling off, again, you can see when you see stuff like this compared to this, that's the difference in the phenos. I mean, just again, it's not that there's no flushing. It's not that this is a nitrogen thing. There isn't that there's too much food left in this. This is simply a green crack type pheno that we're seeing. And in the other Girl Scout from the same seed set, you're seeing these phenos. However, with that hybrid vigor, it's going boom, and it's like, yeah, I want to smoke it. It's looking awesome. At the same time, we want to figure out how do we get all our seeds to look the same. So in upcoming videos, we're going to be working on that and trying to bring it to you as best we can so that we can all understand how to breed our seeds, backcross our seeds, and stabilize our genotypes and understand our phenotypes. This is Jason Wilcox, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Back again. Sorry for the mic again. Fuck, I hate this fucking set. I can't wait to get into a real fucking studio. Excuse my language, but I really fucking can't. Fucking 101 distractions, no wonder you can't do a fucking show. You know, it's hard enough just to remember what to do, but it's twice as hard to fucking do it in your own home when you got fucking dogs kicking your shit over and fucking, yeah. It's a fucking nightmare. Anyway, we do have a camera ready, and we do have Vicky eventually going to be over here to talk about what you guys have asked for, which is the suppositories. I'm not sure what the other thing was that there was to talk about. Fuck, might as well cut to another one. Here's a very large grow that we showed on Cannabis in Canada. I'm gonna fucking air this now so I can take a break. Enjoy the videos, guys. Enjoy the buds.
The rosin caps. We're gonna make some resin caps.
I'll try and come back with a better attitude after this video. Thanks. This is Jason Wilcox coming back. We're reporting once again. I'm back to the grow room. We've been fighting in Allen to protect just this, the right to grow. The right to grow flowers, the right to grow big, huge buds, the right to walk through a grow room like this and experience the freedom of growing a plant. That's what this is all about. Welcome back to Cannabis Canada with Jason Wilcox, the real Cannabis in Canada. We're celebrating a win in Allard. All right, activated charcoal filter. Boom, here it is. Otherwise known as scrubbers. You've seen this around. But up here, this is just for scrubbing the air. Make sure it's clean. Before it goes out to outside, you don't want smell around your place. That's where it is. There's 6 of these that do the whole unit just on the upper floor. 5-ton ACU, 60,000 BTU. That's what's putting out. 60,000 BTU, 60,000 BTU, 60,000. You do the math, but it is an amazing facility up here. Dehumidification, one of the most important parts of a standard grow op. Keeping your relative humidity at all times in the proper range. This baby will do it. It's suppressed 155 dual system. All right, so water conservation, another big thing. Recycling your water. When the plants transpire, they kick up a lot of water. That's what this facility does. Recycles its own water, which is another huge part of being efficient in the grow room. All right, so here we are now. For any good grow, you have to have a water chiller if you're going to be running hydroponics. This whole facility is on hydroponics. Keeping the water at a steady 70 degrees is what this facility does. Using this baby right here, your water chiller. All right, so we got a Growonics 2-stage water filtration system here, and this is very important. It gets rid of chlorine and chloramine, which is something that basically kills beneficial bacteria, which you absolutely need in your rooting zone. It's a fundamental thing that you have in a hydroponic system. Well, as I'm sitting in this jungle, this amazing jungle of friggin' mothers, it's amazing to see here. No, I'm Sour Diesel, we got White Castle, we got Moby Dick, Jackie White, Nebula, we got, Bubba Kush, OG Kush, Purple Candy Kush, Trainwreck, Super Silver Haze, Pink Kush, Rockstar Kush, Chemo. Man, the list goes on. I just cannot say enough about how important a propagation room is and how important it is, different strains for different pains. All right, so as we're here in the propagation room, this is a fundamental base for any grow room. In here, they just happen to have all the mothers. Now, some people have one strain, some people have multiple strains. Remember, different strains for different pains. Now, here we got two 1,000 metal halide bulbs. It's the blue spectrum that they look at. Now, traditionally, people have used metal halide for veg and then high-pressure sodium for flower. Now they have cross-spectrum bulbs. This grower has chosen to use the traditional metal halide, 1,000 watt. There's only 2 of them, but look at these bushes. They go all the way around, and there's, most importantly as well, not only the size, but how healthy, the positive topism. Now let's talk about something that you growers want to know about, phenotypes. Look at them. You can sit here and look at more of a C. afghanica. You get a bit of a rounded here. Look down at the thin tip leaves here for the sativa. You got the sativa dominance. We see the indica dominance as well coming out. A lot of hybrids. All around me are hybrids. A lot of thick indicas in the back. Oh, I just can't wait to see the B-roll, because all these plants here show the true phenotypes of what you need. Different strains to different pains. All these plants will provide a different set of cannabinoids and will help you medically no matter what. Unless you're an alien, you don't got CB1 and CB2 receptor cells, these plants will help you, and these different strains will all help different pains for me and for you. Starting out with any clone, again, you're going to come out, eventually your roots are going to come out through the bottom of your clone, and at that time you're going to take this clone and transplant it into your 4-inch Rockwell cube. And then this will then be staged into the next cube up, which is a 6-inch Rockwell cube, and then it'll go into its final staging, as we'll show as we go on. And other plants in this room are basically just in dirt. Some have been transferred to mothers, if you're wondering, are not running on hydroponics like the rest of the facility. These are in dirt. This is basically Pro Mix, and I'm assuming it looks like just Pro Mix. I'm not sure if it's mixed with cocoa. I will check with the facilitator of this facility, but in here, this is just dirt, and these mothers look amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see all these trees, because they're up to the roof and all healthy. And most important, bug control. In your fundamental base, if you start with bugs, you're going to end with disaster. So a clean, proper propagation room to start with will help you along the way to finish a proper crop and to have a successful, bountiful crop for your time put in. All right, so as we continue to look around the room, you can see these have been grown up to, again, 47 inches before they flip into photosynthesis, which is 12 and 12, to go into full flower. And as you can see, every leaf in this room, there should be a little trickle. See these leaves have got these little trickle to them? That's optimum airflow. You have to have airflow in the room. You can see all around here, there's oscillating fans that are blowing down and keeping the airflow. It's imperative to have airflow in your room. The air exchange in your room should be 1 to 3 times per minute. This room is clearly climate controlled and optimized. As we look around the lights, we've got the parabolic shades, and we can go around, we can see there's 28 1,000 watt metal halide lights. Now, I talked about this in the other room. In veg, you look for the blue spectrum, you're going to go with the metal halides, which is more of a, it looks like it's white, but it's actually the blue spectrum that plants are picking up on when you're looking at the light spectrum. But then you switch over to high pressure sodium in the flower chamber, which will show you the lights change into more of an orange, which signals autumning and also helps the plant to continue flowering for optimal flower growth in these final stages. With this being a full-on recirculating water system, you can actually see the roots of this particular plant here. They just follow the water source going down into the drain here. Once again, going down this trough, you got 7 different plants in this particular one, and it just goes right across the room. And then you see they run up to the 6-inch Rockwell cubes as we showed before, and this is their next stage before, once again, they go over into the flowering room. It's very important. The pH is always kept between 6 and 6.2 in that general area. Sometimes it'll go up to 6.3 is what I'm told. And that's where this particular grower and these particular plants like to stay in. ppm range for your electroconductivity is going to be between 1,000 and 1,200. As always, it's kind of a general to each their own when you dial those things in. And it's also strain dependent dialing them in. But this particular system is just amazing. It blows my mind to see the optimal control that you can put basically in a football field if you wanted to, if you had that ability. All right, so here we are. We're sitting with the recycling. So this is a 200-gallon reservoir. I've never seen one this big. You walk right across it. The feeding system, we're going to get into all of it here, but basically when we talked about the recirculating water system inside there, we've covered everything. Basically it completely is just continually recycling the water through the plants, full hydroponic system through this entire facility. With that being said, there's also the Green Planet products that this particular grower likes to use. Green Planet Nutrients, it's a new 3-part nutrient. It's very popular online. It's very popular amongst growers, period. The feedback that I've been getting and the results that I've been seeing, it's phenomenal. Water, all that's continually running through the plants, back and forth, and then the 3-part nutrient being Green Planet Nutrients, is what they're using here. It's an amazing product. I've used Green Planet for years with Medi1, being an organic grower, so I don't know what it's like to actually use this particular product because I don't run hydroponics in my garden. But this particular grower does, and the results are phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. It speaks for itself. It's off the hook. And yeah, I've got to return back to this. The other thing that's interesting about this particular reservoir is that they actually inject dissolved oxygen, I believe is what it's called, this is new to me because I've never done this, but injecting that into the water apparently really helps with getting the air into your rooting system, which is very important. You know, you want to get that air into your rooting system for your root mass. And this is something we need to look at. And once again, it speaks to the volume of professionalism and importance to safety. The whole way this place has been constructed, this facility, being able to go over your res like this and check it. These guys change their water, I believe it's every week. So it's every 7 days that this is changed in here. I mean, it's just an amazing facility. I can't continue to say enough about it. Again, touching back on the Green Planet nutrients, it's a 3-part. Check into it, look it up, mygreenplanet.com, check them out. These are the cats that know where it's at. They can get you the stuff all around the world, and this is the product that you need. I'm old school in 91, as I said, but this is where it's at for hydroponics if you're not growing in dirt. Okay, as we continue to walk down through the chamber here, I'm able to show you, most importantly, is when you're gauging what your nutrients, you want to know what's going on. Here you can see they got it at pH of 6, and then for their ppms, for the nutrients, it's basically 1040. Like we said, between 1,000 and 1,200 ppm is what you want to be ideal for your nutrients when you're measuring them. And you can see they're bang on, spot on here, and spot on with their pH as well. And of course the temperature, as I said earlier, was 70. Here you can see it's picking it up right now at 69. And of course it's going to fluctuate a little bit with the gauges. All right, so here we are back in the bud room. Now I hear a lot of people talking online and talking about looking at the size of pop bottles towards buds. And this is a lateral bud. This isn't even the terminal bud. This isn't the top one. This is just one of the laterals. I mean, look at this stuff. Just a mad, mad room. And again, fully hydroponics, fully recirculating system. Same idea, only individual stationary troughs for each one, but all being fully fed, recycling through those big reservoirs, and optimal control. And clearly with plants like this, these are monster trees. These are trees. You talk about cannabis, is it a plant, is it a tree? This is a tree definition. Flowers 101. I love this bud room. Want to know what truly growing is? This is what we've been fighting for, friends. Our flowers, our trees, our plants. We're in the flowering room. Amazing. I'm in Candyland here. Look at the bud. My head. Bud. My head. It's amazing. This is just like a pound on the top of each of these trees. This is just one tree. This is some amazing stuff in here. We got some pink kush and some other strains going on in here. I'm going to climb down from this ladder. I got this metal halide hid just sitting right behind me. Will burn my head. But this is the final chamber. This is the flower room.
This is blossoming at a hydroponic shop in BC.
Welcome back to Cannabis Canada. And yeah, I got a few different things to do now. I'm gonna turn my freaking music down. Had a little bit of a break there. Sorry, longer video. Not really sorry. Those are some monster trees. A lot of people don't get to see those. And yeah, those are some 7-foot trees and interesting stuff to look at. If you've never seen a garden, if you've never been in one that big, I had another one here with Derek Pedro, which is Mary Can.
Ooh, yeah, let's play.
Before they were allowed to promote, and I haven't went and played that one yet.
It's amazing if you've never seen a greenhouse. First of all, if you've never actually seen a greenhouse, but if you've never seen a cannabis greenhouse, it's pretty amazing. It's a beautiful, it was a well-tended garden. My God, I can't even imagine taking care of that.
Okay. One thing, just so you guys know, we're just straightening up things here. We're going to have a camera on Vicky. You're probably going to need to move back here a bit more.
Okay.
So you're in the picture. And then, guys, you guys wanted to know about I talked about this earlier. This is important. She's come on for a brief period here. We're going to do a 4-hour show today just because we wanted to. And I'm just happy to show the people that tried to dismantle our hardware that we're back up and operational. It's not that easy. No. And we're very, very much so hard to put down. That being said, for the medical patients out there that dab like we do, and whether you do or don't, if you just get your rig and it gets like this and you've got a reclaim area, you know, Vicky's here to show you exactly. A lot of this stuff looks disgusting, and I get it, we clean all that out. But right in here is a liquid gold. And it's actually been tested. We went and tested this stuff, and it still comes out, it's reduced, but it still comes out as having cannabinoid profile in spectrum, and at high ratios in some cases. Yep. So it depends on, again, what's going in, if it's shatter, if it's distillate, if it's crystalline. It depends on what you're putting in to determine your reclaim. Anyway, she's going to show you how she gets it out and caps it and then repurposes it for the purpose of sleep and keeping titration of cannabinoids up, like Mr. Rick Simpson taught us. Anyway, Vic, go ahead, take it away. I'm going to switch cameras over to you one sec here, and you'll see how it looks. There, that's how you look on camera.
Okay, not bad.
So you're going to want to back up maybe a little bit. Roll back.
I can't go back too far because of the...
No, it's just sort of because of that camera. It's not. You're gonna have to hold it up in the air to show them. It's set right now for the height for the press. We also got the press going. So I don't know how that's gonna work. Are you gonna be able to even do that?
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
One second. Yeah, let's just do this. There. Now you can see Vicky.
Okay. Hey. Oh, stop. There we go.
There.
Perfect.
Now you can show them.
You know
Let's
what?
get this coffee and stuff out of the way. And see, now you guys can see good shots. So this is what we'll be squishing too. We'll be squishing, some good hash.
I usually have a piece of paper towel, but I'm missing that. So I would normally plug up the top, so when you tip it over, you don't get any of your...
Make sure you're tilt the camera right towards you.
I plug up the...
There.
I plug up the lid of a dab rig so that when you tilt it, you don't end up with, all that yummy bong water all over you, dab water, whatever the heck you want to call it. Anyway, so yeah, plug your hole, and I need the torch. Put your torch on as low as setting as possible if you've never gathered your reclaim. So back that up as much as possible, and then just gently warm it up. It's a pretty easy process. It's a really easy process, and I have to say, out of all of the glass I've used, so you can already see that sliding. So we're going to tilt that up this way, and get that nice and warm.
You have to understand, guys, when you're paying $60 or $80, depending on what it is that you're dabbing, and you want or $40, whatever, you want to make sure that you're getting the maximum out of it. And if you can reclaim it and dab it, all the power to you. If you can reclaim it and put it into capsules like we're doing, you're getting maximum benefit out of
So I'm trying to get this up while it's warm. Yep.
So you can see how that just pours out. You're going to pull yourself back into the camera.
A wee bit. Yep.
Yeah. But she's got a good little container there, so I guess you can show the camera after.
Yeah, this is just a small amount of reclaim capture.
Yeah, every couple of days she does this, and yeah.
So this is what I have.
Yeah, so that's your standard reclaim.
Gooey goodness. So yeah, what I do with this is after about a week's, after a couple of days I clean my rigs. Probably within the week I've cleaned it 3-4 times. And every couple of days, like I said, Jason and I are pretty hard dabbers, so I have a nice little collection happening every couple of days for us. And in that, same thing, I fire it out, warm it all up, get it all out, and then honestly, again, my gloves were over there, but I had a pair of gloves right beside me, but they're not here now.
They're only for us anyway.
But they're only for us. Hey, Bonnie, thanks for joining us.
Now the gloves,
the
gloves we might need once we get into, we got announced at this hash that we're going to start to roll out. The thing is, I want to press some hash, press some flower. We're going to turn on our press over here. And this holistic cannabis lifestyle is to be able to do this just in your kitchen. Like I have hash on here that's imported, but to also know that I can go over here and I can press my own rosin today, and we can choose to grab some buds off our flowers and throw them in the juicer. We can do whatever we want holistically with cannabis. And right now I'm just doing a cannabis joint.
So do you want to throw it back over to...
Yeah, one sec here.
Sorry, guys. So I start with, because everybody asks where do you get your caps. So you know what? There we go. I start with right across the street, my health food store. Everybody's health food store carries these gelatin caps. They're super, super cheap. And they're gelatin caps, so you know what? They don't even bother my GI at all. So you take as much, it's basically a PRN. It's as needed, as much as you need. I generally take a good glob of our resin, and I also combine that with some CBD oil just to have the oil as that helps break down the cannabis. Here we go. So this would be my sleeping cap for later. I clean my little dab stick there. I'm gonna fire that in the cap. And you can use olive oil, coconut oil, grapeseed oil, whatever oil you have on hand. I use the CBD oil because it really supports my health system. So I can't really, you know what I mean? I can't overload on CBD.
You also can't take coconut oil. Like I said earlier,
I can't.
coconut oil is the best, but because
But
of
it
her
hurts
liver
me.
situation,
I can't.
she can't take coconut oil.
So, and I found that, you know what, thank goodness, so far so good. The olive oil hasn't upset my GI in any capacity, so Jason's right. That's the biggest reason I don't use coconut oil. Everybody out there, you're right, thanks for reminding me, if you can use coconut oil, please, please, please use it, because you get like 4, 6, however many times strength your cannabinoids into your medicine. So the oil is just going to help break down that resin. Yeah, pop it back, boom, Bob's your uncle. I'll save this one for later, or you know what, I might just take it now. I'm in quite a bit of pain. When we get some fresh coffees, I think that's what I'm going to do. Jason, would you like one?
There you go. Yeah, I'll have one.
That was easy. Also, we're going to talk about the suppository maker before.
Yeah, I was going to say, I already broke into this, the natural remedy other oils, so yeah. But yeah, I can have one of those, and I'm going all out anyway. I'm going to be eating some hash. I'm going to be pressing some hash. I'm going to probably be pretty ripped by the time I'm off the
Babes, you're
show.
always all out.
But that's okay. It's Saturday, and we can't go outside. It's a crappy day.
And I agree. You know what? We're not drinkers, so
weather.
why can't we get a little bit giggly on weed? Right? Like, I'm not hurting anybody.
Weed drunk. Yeah, well, I like to simulate
We do
my
call it
appetite.
weed drunk, because that's kind of what it feels like.
Well, when you get there, it's definitely weed drunk. Man, I've ricocheted off the walls trying to get to bed weed drunk. So, I mean weed drunk. I ain't playing that word. You can get weed drunk.
Oh, man,
You can get right crunk if you want to.
Don't play right. Yeah, you want to drop a whole natural remedy RSO, come back and tell me how you're feeling in like 25, 30 minutes. You're like, right? Ergo is why, if you are unwell and you need to take large amounts of that, you know, best way to take that RSO is in suppository format. And we're going to get to taking suppositories because we have, thank you to Mr. Mike Roulet. I hope
That
you're
was his
tuning
name.
in.
I knew it was Mike, but I couldn't remember the last name.
Roulet.
You're not using your ass cushion? I'm using your ass cushion.
Jason's going to take that. Mike Roulet, I was going to for my back.
Okay, I got you. I need your back. I need your ass cushion.
Okay, I'm not staying on long anyway. All right, Mike Roulet, amazing. He makes these from hand. This is handmade, handcrafted. I can't say enough. Mike makes suppository makers. Mike also, I believe, makes screens for sifting. So if you're looking for, you know, a handmade suppository maker, if you're, you know, making suppositories at home for your own health, this is stainless steel, so this is going to last you the rest of your life. The reason I got up earlier is because I have one and it's in the fridge.
Okay. Go ahead for now.
The camera's pointing at the...
I know, just go ahead for now and just keep it going for now while I change out the battery. Don't worry about the technical stuff.
Sorry, guys. Sound... Yeah, sorry, guys. We're working on it. I don't think they can hear us. Anyway.
They should be able to hear you.
Oh, no, okay. Good, good.
Jesus.
Okay. Sorry.
Said, stop worrying about the technical stuff. It's easier.
Juicing is imperative for cancer patients. You know what? My mom died of cancer, Bonnie, and if my mom were alive today, one of the first things I was taught when I got out of the hospital 18 months ago, or about a year ago, a little 15 months ago with my liver, was like homeostasis in the body. And juicing is amazing for that process, right? It's amazing how deficient we are in all of those micronutrients. And I had no idea how effective juicing could be for my health until I started doing it. I was forced to, and it's now become a part of Jason and ours lifestyle because it really has had such a great and helpful impact on my life. Again, I wish I would have known about juicing when my mom was sick with cancer, because you know, juicing and cannabinoids have a way of bringing homeostasis back to the patient who's ill. And that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking to create homeostasis, the space where the body wants to live and breathe and be, and that's a place where we're going to find the most healing, right?
Can you tell 1 sec for audio?
Check, check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Sorry guys, looks like we're good here.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, mic check should be back on good,
Mic
guys.
check, mic
Sorry,
check.
everything's fixed.
Mic check, mic check.
Remember, it's been a 3-hour broadcast. I mean, batteries die, things need to be changed, but we're getting through it. Mics are working, I know that much.
Okay, good.
So, check, check. Anyway, continue on.
So we were talking suppositories. So if you don't have one of these lovely fancy dancies, because I certainly did for a good long while, what you can do is make suppositories with your coconut oil in a straw, a plastic straw, then cut your straw into thirds or whatever, however large you want your dose to be. The big thick 7-Eleven straws make the best ones because you can get a good, well, think about the width of that, right? You want about the width of that. So there's a cheap way of making suppositories, and if you have RSO on hand in a syringe, probably one of the easiest things to do is just fire that into the freezer for a couple hours, maybe not even that long, and then you know what, insert rectally, and you can take that as a suppository. And if you have cancer and you need to take a gram a day, a gram a day of natural remedy, I'd be crunk and I'd be walking sideways. I couldn't do it. And when I'm sick, I need to do it. So the best way to do that is through suppositories. So if you're dying, or if you're sick, or you're terminally ill, or whatever, you have GI, lupus, all of these things, you need to take suppositories. The beautiful thing about taking this rectally is that you get healed, you don't get high. And most people think you actually get really, messed up, crunk off your face. That's not really true. Rectally will get you very, very healed, not high. So when you got to take a gram a day of RSO, if you're sick with a terminal illness and your immune system is dependent on this, you can't be getting crunk. You just want to get healed. So the suppositories, I truly believe, are the medicinal wave of the future with cannabis because, again, you're getting healed, you're not getting high. And for many people, myself included, I don't want to be walking sideways, but I would like to be getting well. So I'm very, very excited to give one of these away because, we don't talk enough about taking suppositories. And if you're sick, and you're looking for a new way to ingest your cannabinoids, let me tell you, your body loves taking them rectally. I'm not joking. This isn't a joke. I mean, when I'm in my depths of flare-up, Jason knows this. I throw these in the freezer, and I have one that's marked because I know it's my frozen one. And I take this rectally when I'm in a lot of pain, and I really need relief. My inflammation is blown up out of control. Again, I take my CBD or my high THC rectally because it's one of the most efficient ways for me to get healthy, get happy, but not get high. I'm getting healed, not getting high. So I'm super stoked to be giving one of these away today. And you know what? I love talking the medicinal applications of cannabis. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. It gets me jacked, it gets me jazzed. Because I know when I went onto Google, I found all kinds of bad information and I didn't know how to use cannabis. Like I was getting frustrated at the plant. I was getting pissed at the plant because it was like, how come I'm not having this Dr. Sanjay Gupta like everybody else? What the hell, right? And what I realized was, it wasn't the plant. It was that I was so ill-informed because the government and Health Canada and all these other agencies, they didn't want me to be informed. They didn't want me to know that suppositories get me healed, not high. It's better for them to tell everybody, oh no, don't take it rectally. You're going to be so crunk. You're not going to be crunk. You're actually going to get well. Take that for a couple weeks and come back to me and tell me that you're high every day. It's just, for some people maybe, but for 99.999% of the population, no.
We got the rectal part. Now let's get on to how do they make it because I'm sure that's what they want to know.
How do you make it? That's very easy.
We get that rectal works. I already talked about this part earlier. That's fabulous. And just to get off the conversation because it is a little, it's a conversation that's safe for the people that need to have this administration. But most importantly for me is education. How do you make them?
I buried my mom, so nothing embarrasses me when it comes to
It's not embarrassing. Right? I said, how do you make them?
How do you make these? Now, it's super
education.
easy. You know what? If you have cannabis oil, access to butter, if you make cannabis oil, even better. If you don't, hit up your dispensary. Most of them carry an oil or a butter of some sort nowadays. So the best thing to do, though, is make your own cannabis oil. Most people would make it with a coconut oil. Coconut oil is, the go-to. Coconut oil, your cannabis, fill your suppository makers up. Pop that, let them harden up, and you take this thing apart, it unscrews, and literally they come out and they look like little, I guess maybe an inch and a half little straws, Very, very super easy to make. Couldn't be any easier. Again, this is stainless steel, so
What
this,
was the what? No, there was the wax content, yeah.
Well, I
Do they have
freeze
the-
mine
for stability. So
for
that they-
stability. Now, if you're getting into making suppositories for stability, that's a whole different area. I'm not comfortable talking about what waxes to use rectally, because there's been so many. I initially said beeswax, and then I had been told, you need to read said da 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 da. So I'm not comfortable giving that info because I've been corrected on what I thought was safe. 6 months ago I thought beeswax would have been what to do, but now I've been informed, you know what, the best thing to do is just make it with coconut oil and freeze them. And insert quickly.
Yep.
I can't be any, that's the truth. That's what I've been told, but there is definitely things you can use to make them more stable.
I was going to say then yes, so what you can do is if you're going to look into this and if you're doing this today and you want to look further into it, then that's where you want to explore which waxes, because some will actually it'll be defeatist because the waxes actually block the cannabinoids from being able to meet the delivery mechanism applicable.
Yeah.
But it is important, so yeah, it is important to understand that. There's lots of YouTube videos, there's lots of help out there.
Mad.
And the cereal baker
And PM me
back
if
east,
you're interested.
If you're in Ontario, the cereal baker as well is good at making suppositories. They're very important because it's like a lot of people wonder why would you want to waste your cannabis, because you don't get high. And it's like until you understand how cannabis works with the body, then you understand why having copious amounts in your body at all times. It's about keeping the cannabinoid levels in your bloodstream as high as possible at all times.
Well, do you know what it made the most sense to me actually? Doing suppositories when it was explained to me when you need the large amounts for cancer. When you're looking at fighting back cancer, you're looking at taking large doses of high amounts of THC, 75 is sort of that minimum you want to be taking, my understanding, for homeostasis again for the body. So if you're taking 75% THC every single day at a gram a day, you're getting kind of messed up. That's not the goal. The goal is to get you healed. And so when it was explained to me that, taking it in the suppository manner when you're unwell at a gram a day, that totally made sense to me. Then that 60 days, that 90 days, whatever it is your marker for wellness, then you're getting that gram a day into you. I was like, that makes sense to me. And again, if my mom would have been alive, you're darn right I would have told her to do that. She would have tried anything to save her life. Who the heck wouldn't?
And of course, this is important stuff. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, and this is why we talk about the medical applications of cannabis versus what, of course, the LPs don't have suppositories ready to be sent to you yet, and that's the reason you haven't necessarily heard about all this stuff yet. But even getting off of that, there's so many other different forms of cannabis that can be used.
Oh, it's never ending.
Yeah, the applications are very important. Flowers are falling over. Can't be good.
Oh no. Oh, these are flowers. They're beautiful, actually.
Jim, I will gladly debate you on this topic. The cannabis, not all cannabis is created equal. In fact, every cannabis plant is a genotype. And what I mean by that, I'm a genotype with a set of genetics. Now, a cannabis plant has that. When you take plant A and plant B, you get plant C. It's evolution. Very much so, plants, every different strains for different pains. They don't all line up. They don't all work perfectly. But guaranteed, cannabis as a holistic herb and medicine very much so has proven to work. What we're talking about is diving in the different sciences. So yeah, certain strains may work for different pains, and yeah, certain suppositories may not work in that same context. But are you delivering endocannabinoids to your endocannabinoid system? Absolutely. That's exactly the point. Whether you're delivering it through CB1 receptor, which is THC, or CB2 receptor, which is CBD, or CBD, which is non-psychoactive. Depending on how your body is receiving it, it's still medical, it's preventative medicine at the very least, and it's very much individualized. 110%.
And you know what, Bonnie's right, no sugar. Again, my mom died, it'll be,
Of course no sugar.
no sugar when you're cancer. And a lot of people don't know this. I mean, up until my mom passed away very young, me and my sister had started researching what was good and bad for the body. And when we understood that white sugar actually equaled white death, and if you have cancer, it's creating a space for the body to become unwell, to actually breed cancer. You're like, I wish I would have known this. I would have said to my mother, for God's sakes, don't eat anything with cancer. And to anybody out there, any patients today, if I had cancer, I wouldn't be tackling gummy worms, but I would be tackling tons and tons and tons of suppositories. Again, if I had cancer and if it were me or anybody I loved, I wouldn't be feeding them brownies, but boy oh boy, I'd be making sure that they were taking these all bloody day long.
Okay. Well, anybody who's
That's
interested
just
in
me.
this, we can do this for North America. So anywhere in North America, because it's not product related. So anywhere in North America. But if you happen to win, there's only a few people on to watch in this really. So it's you know, it's an opportunity to give it out now if you want, or you can wait to a different chance.
No, I'd love to give it out. You know what? I think it's amazing. And anybody, you know, people are interested, thumbs up. If anybody actually would use the suppository maker, I'd love to give it to somebody that would actually use it. If not, we'll hold off for another day. Right?
Yeah, there's a bit of a lag.
Yeah, I know there's a tiny lag, right? So. Because I do, Mike, you know what, again, this is handcrafted. We're getting thumbs up. Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to give it away. This is handcrafted. Like, again, you don't see handcrafted materials anymore, and not in our day and age, right? And this was all cut and made by hand. So Mike Roulet, he's on Facebook. Find him, follow him. He's a local BC fella. And you know what, thank you very much for all your contributions, Mike, to the CRC to assist in, you know what, getting this case followed through to the end.
Yeah.
Oh, beeps. I don't
We're
know what that means.
Watch out. We're dead in the water. Watch out.
I'm not going anywhere because of that computer.
Are you just blocking the...
Easter.
This is a new A can.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
I can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Never mind. No, they can.
Oh, not really. They're just hearing a lot.
We good?
Check, check. Yeah. No, you're good. Check, check. Go yourself.
Check, check.
Yeah, you're good.
Check, check.
We're good.
All good.
Oh, I gotta switch cameras now.
Fantastic.
That's
Good job, babes.
whoever's still there, but there's a camera and it's not
Good
straight.
job.
You want to move that over a little bit?
Yep.
That's the best we can do. Closing out the show.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is what it is. That's why I said I need that permanent fix on that camera.
How's that?
Yeah, for now, it works. We're just going to close out the show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. No, I didn't steal her pillow bag. Actually, she stole my nice cushy fucking orthopedic ass fucking protector, and she stole that from me. And I just,
My back's killing me this week.
oh, you did steal my ass. Oh, I see Bonnie saying you stole my ass, and she's right. Sneaky. That was fucking sneaky. Forget it. We're finishing the show now. My ass is already bruised for a week.
You didn't even know it was gone.
No, I did so. Bonnie told me.
You lost it anyway, thank goodness.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap the show up because unfortunately
cameras are
my battery was supposed to charge, and as usual, when you ask someone to put a battery on a charger, you would expect them to put it on a charger to charge. And unfortunately, my daughter, for whatever reason, did not put it on the charger fully, and that's why we have a dead camera. We could run off this one, but it's on a messed up tripod. It has been a 3-hour and 12-minute show. So
Good job, babes.
we are actually tired. It's been a long show.
Yeah.
Hell knows what we'll do next. But anyway, a lot of the education was there today. Vicky got to do these caps.
Well, let's give away the suppository maker.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, give that away if you want.
Yeah, let's give this away, and then we will get off. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the pictures. And please, whoever wins this, please, please, please post some pictures for us. I always love to see homemade wares. Again, when I first became unwell and I went on to Google, there was so much misinformation that when I see people sharing real information on Instagram, real pictures and real wares, it just makes my heart happy. Because you know what? That's what I was looking for all those years ago. So to see it now, it just makes me, it makes you feel glorious, right? So yeah, let's get to giving
Man, we do
this
promote
away.
Tim Hortons too much.
Yeah, we do.
Way
But
too
that's
much.
okay. Where the heck did I put my stoner trivia? I put it over there. Let me grab stoner trivia, and let's make this an easy one. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep it easy. You know what? We're gonna give away the suppository maker. Does anybody? The first person.
Remember I told you it was nice and blonde on the inside?
Oh,
That's
it
what
is.
it looks like when you cut it.
It's gorgeous. The first person that lets me know what this gentleman's name that made this, that handcrafted this, will win it.
Has to be the correct spelling of the first and last name.
Ooh, that made it tough. So now if you don't know who he is, you're gonna have to find him on Facebook.
I don't know how they're gonna do that because that makes it kind of hard.
Should we just do Stoner Trivia?
Do Stoner Trivia.
Okay, we'll
Sorry,
do Stoner
cancel
Trivia.
that. That doesn't count because that's not really fair. Because
It's
otherwise,
Mike Roulette. You were very close, Carolyn.
But Mike Roulette is a name, but it wasn't really fair. So let us get out Stoner Trivia, which is fair. And other than those who've researched the game and played it a lot, and I'm gonna make another hash joint and have some fun with it. If you guys want the show to keep going, share it around, like it, share it around, like it, because it keeps us motivated to keep going. These long shows we tend to get wore down towards the end, and yeah, it's time to soon get food and settle in for a movie tonight and chill out with my wife and just relax.
Sounds good.
Can you
We
get
watched
a
Star
bucket?
Wars
I would
last
like to
night.
do
That's
some
fun.
rosin dabs with my hash. Can you please grab me my bucket and before we've been missing the bucket. I can go with the no water. I can even.
Dry dabbing's okay.
I can dry
That's
dab,
not the
but I can't deal with the.
You can't do no nail.
bucket. That just don't work, man.
No nail. All right, let's give away the suppository maker.
Well, that's you. You are doing that.
Suppository mold, sorry, not maker.
Now, it may not seem like much, guys, but honestly, this stuff's expensive.
This was a couple $100. I bought one. Actually, you know what? You're right, Jason. I bought one. This is a couple $100, but again, it was handmade. Lasts your lifetime. It's stainless steel, right? Like, you can't go wrong. Okay, so I got a good one. We're all kind of in the same age group in here.
Where's the Patreon? What's the Patreon?
What's the what?
Patreon? Patreon.
What? Patreon?
I can't believe how stoned. Look at my eyes. My eyes are like
What's
fucked.
that? Megan, let us know what that is. Maybe we can.
I don't know. I'm just so stoned I can't tell.
I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so
my
for
eyes
the
are
suppository
shot.
mold from, again, Mr. Mike Roulette. Here's the question. Stoner Trivia, and it's in music. I love Stoner Trivia. This is super easy. What band sings the song lyrics? I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight toker.
Oh man, that could be too easy.
That's one of the first things I heard when I was young. I was like, shit. I'm watching.
Torch.
You don't need to. It's so soft. You don't even need to. No, not the Eagles.
I know, but I want to torch this. Where's my torch? Fuck's my torch. I'm
Journey,
serious.
Steely Dan, nope. Steve Miller, Lindsay, you won. You won the suppository maker mold. Suppository mold. Way to go, Lindsay Starr. It was a Steve Miller band.
Yeah, Bonnie's saying so. You would recommend suppositories or RSO. Now remember, this is the cold pressed RSO that we get from the Natural Remedy because you can freeze that and it becomes so hard. So it's not the same. Some RSOs are real runny and they
I'm
don't.
not sure.
Yeah. So we can only speak to this. The constitution of this particular RSO.
The constitution, actually, Jason's right. I should back up and say the constitution of this one, I know I can pop in the freezer, and again, I can take this. I tend to take mine in thirds, so I put it in a Ziploc bag, and it's marked. I know what it is in the freezer, right? And so I break my RSO into 3 different doses. For everybody's different. Some people will do it in singles. You can do it in half. Whatever is going to work for you. Yeah. Pop it in the freezer. I know this Natural Remedy one works every time and works amazing. Again, for for said cancer patient, if my mom was here and she needed to take 75% THC, I mean, you're getting pretty messed up on. That's a large dose, right?
I took that much out of there already. That was during the show, and already I'm to the point now. But I mean, at the same time, I had a couple of those hash joints, and wow.
Yes.
That's all I can say as well.
You're feeling wow.
Yeah, like I'm ready for my snacks and my movie and my Saturday night. Maybe the Saturday night fights. I don't know if there's fights tonight.
Ooh, I don't know.
Is there fights tonight, guys?
I think there was fights last week.
Is there fights tonight, guys? Anybody know?
Look into it, yeah. So anyways, congrats. You know what? Lindsay Starr, please forward your information to Cannabis in Canada at gmail.com. And we will get that into the mail for you probably end of the week when we do our CNC mailing. So yeah, have an awesome week, guys. And
we're not done yet.
It's amazing. You know what? I love it. It's so easy. You throw your magic butter maker on. I have a magic butter maker. Throw my magic butter maker on.
Oh, this is a straight.
Caps.
This is a mix.
Easy.
This is a, but it's an equal mix. So it's an equal parts hash to equal parts weed. So it's sort of a straight hash joint, but it's not. I have to have a little in here. I wish I could, honestly, on that note, I wish I knew how to roll better hash joints. But when I was a kid, my friends were really good at that. I was so lazy, I never learned. I wish I knew a hash joint roller that could teach me the art of actually rolling it just right, because then we could do definitely pure hash joints. But we got an ounce of it kicking around here. If you're in the Lower Mainland, you guys want to sesh next week, let us know and let's get together. And I think we should start doing a Vancouver film sesh thing there, where we just go get high at the fucking theaters and go check out the theaters, whatever, and figure out this mess that we're living in, especially with the summer coming. So, why not? Why not have fun? So, we do this already as part of our, what we do through our sponsors and stuff. We go around the world and we have fun, and we go around Canada and we smoke weed. But we like to share that with as many people as we can.
Well, you know what would be fun? If we could make a fine before the legislation passes, because we got this summer.
See, everybody's talking about hash knives. Now I'm fucked up. I'm on hash knives. I'm with you guys. I'm with you on hash knives, man. I'm fucked. I'm thinking hash knives now.
We should try and plan a night where we all get together and go to like a drive-in, and we can all sash and watch the movies at the same time. Because nobody really wants to watch a movie where you can't sash. I want to be able to smoke. I want to burn, right? So let's, in the BC night sky, what better way to watch a movie?
Well, there are lounges we have, such as Karuna, that may want to hold a movie night.
That would be
we need to have enough requests that are in the Lower Mainland that want to get together, and we could do something like that where we sesh, we do all kinds of weird shit. I mean, it is really, what do we want to do? I mean, there's just so much now happening with the cannabis culture. I'm looking forward to the bus routes and everything else. There's a lot of businesses, but for just the average people, we'll definitely be breaking out the hash knives after. Yeah, we're stuck in this little compartment here. For either of us to move, it's an effort. But this joint here, I don't even know if this will burn.
The condo box?
So I can show that you can see it's filtered.
Yes, Lindsay, hash knives are the same as hot knives. Megan came up with that. It's awesome. The hash knives. Basically.
My mom used to fucking kill me over her knives.
I know, they all
She was pissed.
I know, same with mine.
How come, where'd all my knives go? I don't know.
Oh, no.
How'd this knife get burnt? Oops.
Got all burnt, that big old, you're like, ooh, oh.
What up?
Man, I have no idea.
Jason Frederick Wilcox, you tell me the goddamn truth.
Oh, the first thing I ever consumed when it comes to cannabis, I've said this many times, because every time I smoke the hash, it brings me back to the same thing, was a BT. It was disgusting, but it was life-changing. It was frightening and euphoric all at the same time. I was like, oh my goodness. So you know what? I love hash. It was my introduction to cannabis, and I loved the plant the minute I took it in. That's the truth. I felt like I found God. I really did. I'm not even gonna lie, man.
I mean, again, for me as a kid, it was a soft drug. I didn't really super look at it, but I tell you, when I was diagnosed to die and told I had 6 months to live and put on a cocktail of pills, I sure as hell learned the medical benefits of cannabis, and ever since I've been living a better quality life thanks to cannabis, a better life in general thanks to cannabis, and certainly a healthier life thanks to cannabis. And nobody can, it's funny because when I talk with my doctors, it's like, I kind of tell them now after 23 years of being sick, I go in and I tell them, but they bring up that cannabis issue. I throw it right down their throat, drop them on their head around their education, or, when they suggest that they do or don't know. It's better that they say they don't know, but some doctors suggest they do know about cannabis, and I suggest, where did you learn that in college? When did the CMA teach you about cannabis? And when they can't answer that question, then they realize that they are no experts, and the fact there is no medical value. Doctor, we're just looking for an authorization, man.
Do you know what I saw actually? And I was chatting with somebody in a group today.
Oh, sorry. While I think of this,
hold on.
The CMPA waiver form. The CMPA are the people who insure the fucking doctors. Excuse my language. I forgot about this. I was trying to remember this the other show. The CMPA waiver form. Google this shit. CMPA waiver. Now, I don't know if it's still applicable, because those under injunction, it certainly would be. But I'm not sure whether the new program, because what it does is it's a waiver for your doctor. That means that the people that insure the doctor, they won't go after the doctor, and they promise not to. And that's what the CMPA waiver form was all about. And it allowed us to address the back then 60,000 doctors that were given the scare letter not to sign for more than 1 to 3 grams. It happened in 2005. It happened in 2017. We need to counter it with the same thing. A waiver that clears the doctor of any liability given by the CMPA, and I think we should pressure for it. Google that shit, pull it up, use it, defend yourself.
Well, I was chatting with a fellow today, and I've got some readings to do later. His doctor is afraid to go more than 5 grams, because now there's some Canadian research group that now has R&D backing up their 1 to 3 gram rule, 1 to 5 gram rule. It's bullshit. So anyways, I'm going to look into this and talk about this in the next show. But it's crazy.
Battery's dead, kiddo.
for the doctors to try and, you know what, govern a medicine they know absolutely nothing about, right? So for them to try and authorize, I even have a problem with authorizing it. Like, how can somebody authorize something I'm already doing and tell me authorize something they know nothing about?
Doctors should not be the gatekeepers.
No, they
See,
shouldn't.
The doctors being the gatekeepers to the drug is a freaking problem.
It is
if
a
it's not in their books, and the doctor says, you know, even Health Canada says there's no medical evidence to marijuana, then what are we supposed to do? You know, what is the doctor supposed to do? No wonder they say, no, I don't want any part of this. Back to the CMPA waiver. Those that insure the doctors, if you get a waiver form from them, like we had under the MMAR, you know, the the medical marijuana access regulations, there was a CMPA waiver. And that's what helped us advocate for thousands of patients across this country to get their licenses. And I think the same sort of waiver should be applicable now under the ACMPR, and once again defend patients from a horrible suggestion letter by the CMA that 1 to 3 grams is or isn't enough, when they suggest at the same time there's only moderate evidence to cannabis even having medical value. How could you suggest 1 to 3 grams? I say the CMA, some of the higher up, I'm going to straight up call it, the higher ups in the CMA are directly involved in the investment opportunities of the licensed producers. I don't care. The stock market is making a shitload of fucking money off this industry, and I believe the doctors have their knee deep in it because they don't want to give out these big prescriptions unless they're going to a licensed producer. In fact, some of them are even on licensed producer payrolls. You know, their lobbyists have been there. You just have to see which LP is in your doctor's office. That's all I can say. Go check and see which LP is in your doctor's office. You want to fix the focus, kiddo? Thank you for queuing that up, but I think the battery is just going to die on you again, but I can switch cameras. It's more fixing this camera for backup, because that's going to die right away. Yeah, just refocus it. We're just killing out the last little bit of time. It's only because this hash is so goddamn good. Whoever asked that, honestly, you guys see, I don't know if you've seen the snake size I cut off that, but it was a good 1.5 grams of hash that I cut off of it. So that's what we were using, and that to about a gram of about a half gram, because I'm looking at the size of this. I'd say about a 1/2 gram of hash and a 1/2 gram of weed would be about what's in here, but it's burning perfectly.
Yeah, it is.
So fuck you. That's my fucking neighborhood. It's like, you know, I have 4 lanes of traffic in front of my condo, and I hate it. I want to get back to the country. I want to get back to living life. It's not easy.
Yes.
You know, I from the junkies fighting at night to the fucking the weekend warriors that want to fight from the bar, you know, to the people I don't even know why they're screaming over the goddamn cars, you know, and to the accidents and the sirens, nonstop. So it's the concrete jungle, and man, I was raised in the city all my life, but man, I've never been this downtown hardcore fucking urban city, and for this long. It really is. It can break you down. I mean, now when I go to the woods, I'm like a little kid that's just been let off the loose by his mom and dad to go run and play. I mean, that's how I feel when I get to the woods. If Vicky's seen it in me, I become like this little baby, this little kid. It's really weird, but you know, the city can definitely dampen the mood of any medical patient.
Oh, it's true. You know what? When you go through, I don't know, several nights of not sleeping, you're like, oh goodness.
Just, no, I was aiming
the
for
noise,
rosin,
right?
I was aiming for that rosin dab. Where'd that rosin go?
Rosin dab?
Yeah.
Who's got rosin? Oh, rosin.
Nice big rosin dab. Goes with that hash.
What's everybody else smoking today? Sorry, you know what? I can't do the chat and smoke this hash.
Why not? That's awesome hash. Thumbs up and good love for the hash, guys.
I'm way
Seriously.
too buzzed. I can't even smoke and do the comments. Now I'm like Stoner Bob. Oh shit.
I swear, I put this up against the best strains that I'm used to smoking, and there's a different high about this hash, this imported hash, and especially the gold stamp. It puts you, and again, that Arabic sunset, the two of them especially, they put you into a different place where you just calm, you relax.
That's
It's great
what
for
it
the
does.
muscles.
You
It's
know
hard to
what?
explain.
It's hard to explain, but it's so calming and so relaxing that I was like,
Connoisseurs know what we're talking
you go
about.
from here to here and you're like, oh, I just feel
Yeah.
nice.
You
I
can't-
just want to relax.
As soon as I hit it when I was on break, you guys
Yeah.
don't even know. Like, I just sat back in my chair and it's just like, yeah,
yummy.
man. It's
Super
like,
lemon
ooh.
haze mixed with bubble hash. Nice.
There you go.
That sounds ridiculous.
That's a domestic
Shit, that
hash. That's
sounds
what we're
good,
talking
man.
about. So the bubble hash is the same thing, but this is that domestic imported when we were kids. Set you back in a sense. Different strains for different
Yeah.
pains. For me, Gold Stamp and the Red Lebanese and the Arabic
love-
Sunset work, but the other hashes don't work for me. So again, different strains for different pains. It applies to hashes and it applies to extracts.
Of course. Ooh, Rockstar Shatter. Ooh, yummy. I love Rockstar, actually. You know what, Bruce? That is one of my favorite strains for my pains. Everybody's different. Rockstar's always been one of my good go-tos. Always, always, always. Heck yeah, you got some good homemade hash. No doubt, Sandy.
Oh yeah, domestic hash, guys. I checked my Google my Google Jason Wilcox and hash. You know, Google back to before there was anybody teaching anybody about hash. I was teaching you how to make extracts, how to make your keef, and how to press it into domestic hash. Same ways the East Indians were doing it, and we were talking about how they use silk blankets to make it. We taught you all that before it was ever the way it is now. You just have to Google that shit. You know, 2007, 2008, I was teaching you this, and I loved that. You know, and now there's 1,000 people teaching it. Soon there's going to be 1 million people teaching it around the world. And thank God this glorious plant is going to finally get given out. But don't let nobody take away from the very basic essential of the trichome. That's what we're smoking here. There's no need for the plant material. It's your choice to smoke it. It's carcinogens you don't need. You don't need to eat. You shouldn't have any green. You shouldn't be eating any green. It's chlorophyll. You don't need it. But the trichome itself, that's all about the gold. Look for the golden. It's all good. Look for the golden. It's all good. I should hashtag that shit. So you know when I'm getting medicated because I'm starting to have fun. That's when you know you can't feel your bum. See? There's the fucking fix. Smoke a lot of hash during the show and I ain't gonna have ass pain until after the show when the hash wears off.
We'd love to visit you, Sandy. You know what? We're back east. If we make our way to Ottawa, dude, we are definitely gonna come in and burn a big fatty at your joint. Right?
We burn everywhere when we are driving back across. We're upgrading our vehicle when we get back from Australia, and we're driving back across again. And we'll be stopping and doing our different things, especially for Cannabis in Canada. We do have different things from lounges to co-ops where there's different legal matters going on across the country that I'm engaged in helping with. So there's a lot of different reasons for us to...
Oh, shit.
You dropped the hash joint. Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
She broke... Oh, fuck. That's the cardinal rule. If this was outside when we were teenagers, holy fuck. Oh. Get off my show.
I think I'm done for today. Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding.
And I dropped hot rocks on the floor. Shit. Fuck.
Well, those hot rocks are hash, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, exactly. I was like, oh shit, the floor's on fire. Oops.
But that's okay. But I remember when we were teenagers, man, if you were the one to drop the joint into the mud, holy fuck. That was a bad thing to be in the circle and you dropped that. Yeah, that's the cardinal rule. You can't drop it. And puff, puff, pass. Puff, puff, pass. Don't bogart the joint. Man, the fucking rules of the circle. The rules of the circle. Pass it left-hand side.
You know what? I didn't puff, pass, but I wanted you to maintain. Right? I was like more like, it's trying to get that
I
third
still
one in.
struggle with that puff, pass. I'm more like puff, pass.
I'm a puff, pass.
That's more me.
But I do want you to puff, pass, right?
I've adapted. I try to, but I've adapted to it. Now, when I am in an official circle, I do my best to follow the rule and pass to the left. But often, I've been in big circles with some of the most high-profile activists in the country and hardcore weed heads. And we're in the middle of the circle, all of a sudden we realize, how the hell did it start going to the right? Who fucked up the rotation? None of us even know that it circled to the right at some point. No. So, just good examples of stoner fun, you know? It's just truly the stoner fun. It's what really being, it's what medicine, this is what we should get back to, is growing our plants, enjoying the different ways we can have fun with it, and talking about the fun that we have with it, and the different ways we can repurpose it, because the government can no longer take it from you. And those unwilling to get into the ACMPR, watch the converts over the next year. Watch it once again come to fruition, what I'm saying. Not only did Jody Emery and the Goodwins and Mark have to go and convert to the LP system, that's the ACMPR. Mm-hmm. It's a federal permit so you can actually hold weed. Don't get busted and then get your permit. Get your permit now so you don't get busted.
Well, and you can travel in Canada. You can do whatever the heck you want. Like there's so many.
Just keeping it real on the 604, man.
You know,
protect yourself.
Limitations that you know are when you're a cannabis consumer that are on your life. When you have a medical permit, those restrictions are taken out of your life. Now you can't travel outside of Canada, but there's some amazing places to see. It gets you back to your quality of life. You know what I mean?
But also, again, for me, it's about no medical patient or no end user. I'm not even going to use this word medical patient anymore because it's preventative medicine for everybody. I don't care unless you're an alien, you got CB1 and CB2 receptor cells, and I'll debate anybody on the issue. But that being said, access, you know, this is where we no longer, if we can provide access through each other. Allard, the $1 million trial that the government failed so horribly in, that gave us access to the plants. Now, if you don't invoke that access just because Health Canada wants to make you wait 3 months and put you on elevator music for 8 hours, that's because they don't want you to grow. The big lobbyists are saying, don't get those licenses through, do everything you can to deter them from actually getting a license. Right down to the Canadian Medical Association mailing all doctors in the country and telling them 1 to 3 grams is enough based on the Israelis' testimony in Allard. I would say, what about the testimony of the 41,000 known medical marijuana patients in the medical marijuana access regulations and the medical marijuana access division of Health Canada? What I'm saying before Allard, this is how many people were in the program, 41,000. So if there was 41,000 people, we learned in Allard that the average prescription here in Canada for those 41,000 was 10 grams. So why are we using Israeli statistics with the Canadian Medical Association if not to better the proceeds of the licensed producers?
If anybody's wondering what the heck I'm doing, I woke up with a terrible headache, and you know what? I rub this in every couple of hours, and you know what?
What do you rub in?
I rub in, the Natural Remedies CBD oil, the olive oil tincture, around my eyes, back the neck, and behind the ears, and so far so good. Brandy B made this suggestion a couple of months ago, and man, oh man, were you ever right, girl? As soon as I wake up in the morning, if I feel my headache coming on, I rub my oil on, and periodically I'll rub that on again throughout the day in those spots, because those are my trigger spots. And I've avoided a migraine. So knock on wood, I've kept a migraine at bay all day today, and I haven't had to use one of those crazy $25 Maxalls that make me feel like my head's going to rupture, right? They're never fun. So for anybody that struggles with migraines, CBD has been amazing for my migraines. Not only am I ingesting, I'm also rubbing it on. Hash is great for migraines, but rubbing the CBD on topically, no bullshit, really helps alleviate that stress and that, it's just an awful feeling. If you're a headache sufferer, you know what I'm saying.
This the thing is, the applications.
Yes, thank you, Brandy.
There's been other people that have learned this, and I was interested in learning that because more and more, I mean, now I'm looking at harm reduction, how to educate, getting into harm reduction houses and teaching the elderly and teaching the most sick and dying in this country how to use cannabis and doing it under a legal framework. That's what I'm looking forward to, because that's what empowers me to keep fighting as a medical patient myself, is by empowering others. Empowers me, because somebody once empowered me to live a better life with HIV. That's just how it works. You pay it forward.
Yep.
You know, and that empowerment tool is what built the coalition. We empowered one another through thick and thin. We held together, and where need be, we stood our ground as medical patients. And we've had to do that so many times in our medical personal fights with doctors and our personal fights with our ailments. Yes, happy 420 to everybody, wherever it's 420. What the hell are you talking about?
420 here.
No, it's not. It's 3:35.
No, it's not. It's 420.
How come I says, oh, we've been on the air for 3:35? Oh, it is 4:20.
Yeah, I'm like, shit, hey, no, you gotta stop. It's 420.
Okay, well.
Happy 420.
I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, happy 420. There you go, 420 Saturday. We actually stayed on the air for fucking 3 hours and 35 minutes. We may as well run this down. I'm just going to cut off for a second here, guys. Congratulations to the winner. We're going to decide on break here whether we're going to do a final giveaway, share around. We got enough people on. We might. Our camera battery here should last just enough time that we got this one. So this battery will last, and it's not the best one, but it works. And start sharing around. Make sure you hit the likes. We'll look through the comments. And here's just, the government wants to talk about low stress training. You have to be under 100 centimeters, and it's not applicable now. It's proposed legislation. Now, of course, a plant that's under 100 centimeters, you need to low stress train it laterally. You need it to grow this way. And I've got a little clip here that I made years ago. I used to teach people on my grow show how to make bonsai plants, and I had a low stress train because I learned that from trestle training outside in Prince George. For the outdoor growers, we used to train along the fence line so the choppers couldn't see the plants. But anyway, all said, we'll take a look at this for low stress training. I'd like to talk a little bit about that when we get back. Plus, you can enjoy some of the plants that I've personally grown over the past decade and a half. Check, check.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Who the fuck's awake out there now, huh? Yeah. Wake the fuck up. Show's still going on. Huh? It was fucking almost 4 hours,
Mary
man.
and Joseph.
Who's awake now? That wasn't on purpose. That was by accident. But why the fuck not make a little bit of improv out of it?
Might as well make it funny. Oh, here's something else, babes.
I am feeling good. I'm telling you, this is the hash. Look, it's still burning. And I'm going to roll another one as we finish out the show. We got 20 minutes, so we're going to burn a fat ass.
Yes, Jason.
Okay. So, for the purpose of the camera, I guess I can't unless fucking...
Mrs. Come here.
So I'm going to cut this piece off.
Oh.
You guys can see that.
So pretty.
And then you can see how big the piece is that we're going to actually smoke. Like that. Yeah. So we're going to smoke this big fucker. Now, I don't have my scale here.
That's so nice, Jason.
When you're grabbing my scale.
You know what? It is nice to see other people happy, and I feel the same way. When I see people around me happy, it brings out the good in us, right? And you know what? Thank you for sharing that. That was very kind. Yeah, it's nice.
It's very important.
Very much.
And guys, if you're in Vancouver, come hit us up because we will get out. We session relatively openly. We sometimes will set up our show and do stuff live at the beach. It's just the weather has not permitted
with
it.
the issue of lounges in the city, I would love to book something though. With the issue, I guess we could go down to CCHQ anytime though.
Yeah, it's more that the city has banned or not made lounges available. I would like to see medical recovery houses. I would like to see lounges that are available, and I would like to see education facilities not run by big business that don't understand what the hell they're talking about, but rather people like this, potheads like this, that are willing to sit there and talk about what we've learned over the past 20 years, in my case, 23 years of my ailment, and how I've used cannabis to survive, how Vicky's used cannabis to survive. Truth. Speaking truth to power. It's what it's always been about. Truth to power.
Ooh, we would love to do an event at Meta. We were saying that earlier, but you don't want to say too much, right? Like you don't want to say, "Hey, let's all hang out."
No, we're
banging
talking
that around earlier about a movie night at but we didn't want to say
either a
too
movie
much.
night, or we could just do an organized. I mean, we used to do coalition gatherings, but now that the coalition's disbanded because we don't really have a fight ahead of us,
let's do some community healing
that we can legally do. Yeah. We're just educating our members right now. Really in helping them navigate. So that's something we could do, but it's all about having fun. I mean, I think a pizza party, and I think maybe a hookah party to introduce Hashback. I mean, I'd love to do a Hashback show.
Now that
because I'd love everybody to feel how I'm feeling right now.
I didn't want to say too much because you know what I mean. You didn't want to say, "Hey, let's all just crash Meta," and it's not cool, right? But Meta was my introduction, and oh my goodness, when you walk in, it's beautiful. There's tea, there's coffee, there's espressos. I'm a tea drinker, but there, you know.
Did you hear that? Espressos.
There's espressos and cappuccinos. There's a cappuccino maker. When you go in there, this is how dispensaries should be. This was my introduction to Vancouver. I fell in love with Meta Lounge immediately. It smelled like my naturopath's office. It really did. When I walked in, it smelled so beautiful. It was clean, it was natural, it was organic. It is how everything should be. So I would love, love, love to hang out and sesh down at Meta Lounge. Again, hang out, have cappuccino, pick up some wicked
Carol,
jabs.
really? You've never met another medical patient?
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
That's heartbreaking, lady.
You have now here.
Exactly.
You know, that's what matters. That's what Cannabis Canada is. I mean, we started, it was all about medical, and as we continue, it's going to be, because to me, it's preventative medicine. No doctors argued with me. No real intellect has argued with me that unless you're an alien, and you don't have CB1 and CB2 receptors, then cannabis is medicine to you. It's just you may not know it. And that's okay too, because they've lied to us for 95 years. They've made it marijuana, they've made it lies, reefer madness, more lies, scare. Save the kids now. Save the kids from what? My God, save the kids from alcohol and fucking methanol. And goddamn fentanyl and opiates.
So this is 3.1 grams of hashish. Ooh.
Okay, you want to, we don't have to show the camera. So 3.1 grams of hash. So pull that out for a sec.
Yep.
We gotta get approximately the same 3 grams.
Right on the money.
Okay, so about the same in hash.
It's about the same in hash.
Okay, then I gotta
nice joint.
I gotta bust this separate.
This is getting better and better. But what I was gonna say, now that we've got stability testing happening in Caroline, we're gonna be Skyping people in. Justin's gonna be Skyping people in. So although we may not be able to meet in person, the internet is an amazing thing, and it has this beautiful thing, FaceTime and Skype, and you know what, we will meet and sesh, you know, maybe not in the flesh, but you know what, we can do that via the internet.
And also, as a collective, this is what the coalition did. We learned to work as a collective together. And when we go across the country, like I just had Daniel here, he's from Ontario. We met through the coalition. We developed our personal friendships, and as we travel across the country, we meet different people, and that's what's good about this internet, because real recognizes real. If you're a real medical patient, you're talking truth and you're speaking truth to power, people will recognize that and they'll want to introduce you into their home. Just like I want to get to know those people too. Because we're like-minded and we understand the nature of the cannabis plant and the peaceful nature of the cannabis culture that does not need to be criminalized or marginalized by the federal government anymore. 95 years of lies is enough. My voice is even starting to go. I've been smoking so much of this.
Yeah,
but anyway,
what?
that was 3.5 grams of hash, just so
This
if
is a
anybody's
nice
wondering.
joint.
See, if I actually, you guys remember when we were kids, right? So if I actually snake this shit out into what would be a
It's
snake
nice.
joint, even that fucking shit's sick.
It's hard.
See? So
Where's
we're
those
gonna take
big
this.
ass papers?
I don't even know. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I may have to double paper
You're
it.
gonna have to double paper it. Ooh.
All right, let's see if we can get this done.
Well, I'm gonna grind it up.
No, I got this. You just smoke that.
I can do that.
And
I can definitely say I watch Carol Ann's on Instagram, and you know what, her baked goods and cannabis infused meals and caps. You know what, Carol Ann, I love that you share all of your homemade wares, all of your medicine with the world. Again, when I was creeping on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and looking for real medicine, and finding what I found at the time, thank goodness times have changed, and when you get on there now, you're finding other patients who are sharing real medicine and how to actually use that. That was the other thing. People were sharing, they had caps. So I was like, well, how do you make that? I didn't know you could go to the health food store and that they made gelatin caps.
just in case you guys are wondering about the hash, you guys will also remember your old school hash. This was our tester when I was a kid. Somebody said that they didn't have shoe polish in. We would do this to see if it burns super black.
Do they smoke cannabis, our kids?
If you want to see if it's pure. No, my daughter doesn't smoke and her son doesn't smoke.
I can answer this question, and you know what? You can take it any way you like it. No, they don't. And it makes me sad. It makes me sad.
I was just going to say, we wish they did.
We wish they did.
If versus the alcohol or
Not
anything
even gonna
else
lie.
that they're going to explore with.
Yep.
But anyway, back to this hash, guys. I'm not going to
Good
keep this
question.
burning because I don't want to waste it. But
Yes, it is
people said
natural
about
rubbing hash.
the hash joint. So again, you see I've already started a coal. So could we do a hash joint? Absolutely.
Yeah, we
but I'm
could.
going to mix this half and half. So I'm going to put this out. I just wanted to show you. But you remember the testing when we were kids? Guys would take this shit. This is fresh off the brick. We don't stomp on our stuff. But guys, when we were kids, the reason you often got black or stuff really burned shitty and you got that awful taste in your mouth, that was shoe polish. That was bad fucking cutting by street level dealers. And thank God those days are over for the cannabis culture, and no longer is it being treated like a bad drug. No, because that was when it was being abused.
Carol Ann says she lost a daughter and 3 grandchildren indirectly to opioids. I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine, right? I've nearly lost a couple of family members. Thank goodness they were saved truly in the nick of time. Both of them, several times. Yeah, I'm very, very sorry. That's heartbreaking because, like I said, 2 of my family members were saved in the very, very, very nick of time. So the opioid crisis has definitely touched my family, as I'm sure it's touched pretty much every North American family.
I'm sorry. That was,
This is the Jason nobody sees.
that's hot. No, I'm sorry. That wasn't even funny to interrupt there, but that was hot. That's fucking 3 grams of hot fucking hash, right? Melt. I forgot how oily this shit is. And it's like hot oil, right? Look at my hands. It's like burnt. Yeah, it's hash burnt right to my fingers. Ow.
Damn. That shit's so hot, there's a coal going in there.
I know. Well, that's that coal I broke off, so that fucker wouldn't be in here. Otherwise, I would have started an Indian fire. It would have been fucking toast. And once that shit starts, man, you're done. Seriously, it starts to go and then it won't go out.
I know.
Not an Indian fire, sorry, a brush fire.
Yeah.
Those brush fires that you would start by accident, they wouldn't fucking go out. Hash is notorious for that.
Well, I can see, Carol Ann, why your daughter got into substance abuse work. It's why I got into it. My dad's brothers, you know what, they had serious problems with heroin, so the opiate addiction has definitely touched my family. And you know what, that was my reason for becoming an addictions worker. It touched my family so close to home and so deeply and traumatized us that, I had this yearning to help, and I'm sure that was your daughter's situation as well, right? When it touches you so closely. My sister turned a blind eye to it, and I really wanted to get involved in it.
I am on fire today, literally. Ow.
I lit myself on fire at 420. Heather,
She actually
oh
did.
my God, it was so embarrassing. I met my Canada sister. It was so embarrassing. Finally got to meet her. We were supposed to dab, sesh, have a good time. She comes over. I'm filling my torch. I didn't know the torch was still on with the butane. Anyways, this thing blew up, and I must have had tain on me. My whole this whole thing caught up in fire. My hair, everything went to like one big blue ball. Thank God I wasn't hurt. But oh my God, so embarrassing. So if you are out there and you're dabbing, make sure your torch is off, kids, when you're refilling your butane. You could seriously mess yourself up. It wasn't funny, actually. It's kind of scared the shit out of me for a couple of minutes. I will not do that again.
Donkey Kong fucking.
Oh, here we go.
Like old,
See, this
old
is when you do need like backwoods or some blunt wraps. If we had some backwoods, just bam. But we don't have
this is where we need a chai jacket or somebody that's really good with rolling, because I suck at rolling.
Stoners. Yeah, that's what it was that day. It was so embarrassing. There was some blue cloud. I was like, oh shit, did that just happen?
It's called turning your torch off before you try to fill it.
Oh my God.
You actually tried to fill it with the torch on.
I didn't know though, because of the sun, I couldn't see, and anyways.
Well, just tell the truth. If you don't try to fill the torch when the torch on. Common sense would dictate that, but I'm trying to just stay quiet here. But for the record, just don't fill your torch with the fucking torch on. So I'm keeping it real. She tried to fucking fill the torch with the torch on. No wonder she almost lit herself on fire. She almost blew us all up. Fuck.
I wasn't gonna say that shit, but that is true. I could have pulled this off.
I'm not joking about it. Fuck, my daughter was there. It was like, that ain't fucking funny.
My
I looked right at you. I said, what the fuck's wrong with you?
My liver hurts. Stop.
Yeah, laugh now.
Yeah.
We would have been the only jerks at 420 and blew ourselves up with butane. With a minor. Fuck.
Oh my God. That's
Couldn't
awful.
get any worse.
Can you imagine? Oh, snap. Vicky
Barely
does it
a minor,
again.
but still.
Really, I am
newspapers would clue her in as a minor.
I really am like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, just waiting to happen. Like, it's not even funny.
See, that's the kind of shit we should get on
my
video, because that then you guys would understand how fucking funny shit is sometimes. I mean, we've done some crazy shit, and even the whole coalition, for that matter. I mean, I'm gonna put the
way too many dabs, Bonnie. Right, that's like 25 dabs deep, right? You're right.
Actually, YouTube's gonna kill us, guys, in about 8 minutes. We're sorry, but this show has got to come to an end.
Have an awesome Saturday.
I almost want to re-go the show just to finish this joint.
Well, why don't we restart it in 10 just for this joint, or 5?
I'm gonna restart it in 10 minutes just for this joint, and we'll see you guys then if you wish to join us. And we might even, you know what I might do? You know what I might just do? Is do just to say fuck you to certain people. Is I might just send out some of this hash to
let's do it.
To a lucky winner.
Let's do it.
It's how we got to go about doing it, and. Yeah, so anybody interested in that, honestly, the best thing you can do right now is you can send me an email at cannabisofcanada@gmail.com. That's the only way I can do this, and you're just going to have to trust that your name's in the hat.
Yep.
And I'll try to make sure that you're a winner. We can't announce anything or be formal on the page whatsoever due to trolls that have recently attacked us. So we'll see you guys as soon as we're back here.